Very little in the way of infrastructure. So you'll be living like Robinson Crusoe did. That's just how that would work. If you are able to get yourself an ESN number in the United States, like an ITIN number, if you get that done, Western Florida is phenomenal. I mean, there are areas in Western Tampa, for example, they're a bit run down, but the commerce that takes place in Western Florida is unreal. But if you're into money, Miami is building itself up to be competition, sheer competition to New York. New York's it's a hell right now. It's a left-wing nut job center. Miami is a conservative Christian place where they want to make money. Florida cares about money. New York cares about rules and limiting your rights and your freedoms. I would highly recommend Miami if you have a bit of dough and you want to make more dough. There's a lot of business and commerce and international commerce taking place there. I'm just going to check a couple of quick things in my email box and see if there's any more questions I need to address here. And I do not. Okay, beautiful. So I've asked you, other than freedom of speech, what else do you like in Costa Rica? The people, Costa Ricans, they have traditional family values here. So whenever you see groups of people together, work under the assumption that they are all family. Mom, dad, kids, grandma, grandpa, uncle, aunt, like they all culminate as families, especially when you see them on the beach and they're chilling out. The West Coast, people are very friendly on the West Coast. In San Jose, it's not a rough place, but you got to be vigilant because it is a big city. But there's just so much to do in San Jose. Excuse me. The fact that you can invest whenever you want, wherever you want, that's amazing. The fact that you can hide your money from foreign governments, that's amazing. And the fact that foreign businessmen and businesswomen want to come here. There's actually a lot of money coming into the country. So there will be more investment opportunities here, especially if you're a good salesman and you know how to get your foot in the door with wealthy investors. The scenery is so different from Canada that instantaneously my mental health went right back to like where it was. I feel like I'm 30 again. And that is something else to consider. Is you've got the salt in the air from the ocean on the west coast here. You've got the jungle trees. You've got the different sounds of the different flora and the fauna. There are huge macaws here. We're talking parrot birds that are what, 5-6 feet long with their feathers. There's beautiful things to see. The beaches are amazing. If you want to get things done here, you can get them done. If you want to hire the locals, you can get them hired for between $3 and $7 an hour. You can get things done here that you can't get done back home. All right, Portugal. I will be in Portugal at Christmas time. It'll be my first time in Portugal. I'm heading out there for a month just to check it out. I will be checking out prices, property prices, value for your money. These are all very important things for me to know. So I will be heading out there. And I'll be keeping everybody apprised of that. Okay, John, I was looking into the Czech Republic. I'm not sure. Yes, there's actually Czech and Slovak in my past. I am going to head out to all of Europe. I will be doing a European tour because I am curious. But Czech Republic is a place that I do want to see, especially Prague, seeing as most of the structures that were built there are about 1,300 years old. I've got to see that for myself. With that in mind, I can't guide you because I've never been. That's all I can say about that. Yeah, Florida is great, guys. Florida has 7 international airports. There is no city on the planet that you can't get to where the flight will originate from Florida. You've got Tampa and St. Petersburg, 2 airports side by side, both international. You drive an hour east, you're in Orlando. Then you've got Miami. You've got the airport up in Daytona area. You've got Tallahassee. And then you've got a whole bunch of private airports everywhere. There's airports everywhere. There are seaports everywhere. Florida is a great place to be because there's always something going on and there's always new batches of people coming in that you can interact with. It's a wonderful place. Is Nicaragua safe to visit? Yeah, But you better stay out in the public places that are safe. If you're going to be in areas that are considered dangerous, you're done. It's a very communist regime right now. When I do go to Nicaragua just to see it for myself, I will be going in a group of at least 5, and all of us are going to be in that group at the same time. If anybody would like to be part of that group of 5, let me know. You guys can meet me here in San Jose, and then we can just drive over to Nicaragua, across the border, shoot downtown in the capital, have a look around. But I wouldn't go alone. I would not go to Nicaragua alone. Gun ownership in Costa Rica. Become a resident, own guns legally, and conceal carry. Okay? Residents can conceal carry. There you are. So Optimistic Prime wants to buy a house here. Just get a hold of me. My website address is up top here somewhere, or in my profile description. Use the contact form. Just put Costa Rica in the subject line. I'll get back to you within 24 hours. By the way, we're at 2.2 thousand likes here. Could we get this up to 5,000 likes? Could everyone just go, please, and like this video? All right. The bottom line is money. Without big money, Costa Rica is a fantasy only for the rich. Well, no, not necessarily, but it's not a place where you come if you can't make it. If you haven't been able to navigate Canada or United States' system and have something in your pocket, then no, I wouldn't come here unless you're coming down and you're splitting rent with 2 or 3 people. Come on down and check it out. It's absolutely worth doing. When I was in Costa Rica 21 years ago, I came for 2 weeks and I split rent with 3 other guys. And we just hung around, checked everything out. Russia, Flash Gordon, you saying it's nice this time of year? I would beg to differ. Russia, for me, would be in the summertime when the sun doesn't go down till midnight. That'd be great. Alrighty. JC is back. Yes, I am glad to be away from Canada for now. It's Canada, it got to be too crazy too quickly. And as a guy with a big mouth like I have, the police were always giving me a tough time. I would send tweets out, and I would get the police knocking on my door telling me that I shouldn't say the things I'm saying. The politicians you're talking about don't like the way you talk. Yeah, what an immature society. It's really childish, especially the court system. The court system is run by a bunch of angry children. It's not anything that's of any benefit to mankind. It's just a money-making device. And I don't want to be a part of that nonsense anymore. Can you please ask about the COVID mandates they dealt with? I don't want to move to another Canada. Well, the last president implemented them, but nowhere near as harshly as anyone else. El Salvador, Costa Rica, and Mexico had the lightest, lightest COVID restrictions out of all the countries going. Because they knew that they would be losing money if they weren't opening their doors up to commerce. This current president said, if doctors killed your kids with those needles, go get them. And the doctors who did give those poisons out, they left the country. They split and they're not coming back. Florida hurricanes, they're not that bad. I've been through one. I put on goggles and a hockey helmet with a visor. And a windbreaker with long pants, boots, and gloves, just in case some debris was going to hit me. And some grasses flying around the air hitting and whatnot. But being in a hurricane is actually a pretty incredible experience. So don't panic about a hurricane coming through Florida. Sorry, guys. Wow. It's been a long day. Florida always rebuilds. That's what human beings do. We just rebuild. And not too many people die in hurricanes because most people are used to what these things are. So if you can conceal carry, I've never seen anybody, Gary, open carry a gun down here. I know that there are some packing because that's just what people do. And I'm sure that every household in the neighborhood that I'm in's got a gun in it. I'm sure of that. But the cops don't care. That's the thing. The cops, they don't care here. They make $20 a day, so what they will do is they will stop violent crime when they see it. But they're not walking into people's houses. They don't show up at your front door and ring the doorbell saying, yeah, we have a warrant, we want to look around for a gun. Just the stupid crap that cops in Canada do. The cops would never even dream of doing that stuff here. At all. Okay. Sorry, Debbie, you're asking me how do I like I'm not entirely sure what that question meant. If you want to rephrase it, please, I will definitely address that. Mike from Simcoe says, hey, Kevin, seen you with Ed the other day. Oh, on the Forgotten Channel. Yeah, well, Ed's here in Costa Rica right now checking it out himself, and he's having a good time as well. Nice background. Yeah, well, potato sack and thick soundproofing. So there we go. Thank you. Oh, thank you, Debbie. If you liked my live, thank you. I do appreciate that. Thank you very much. Oh, sorry, to like my live, just tap the screen somewhere in the middle. Just just keep tapping with your finger. Just go rapid fire like a machine gun, anywhere at all in the middle of the screen, and that'll be a like. And you just keep firing, like you just keep going. And the likes, see the hearts in the bottom right corner, they'll just keep popping up. JC, yeah, I don't miss that question. JC's asking if the books behind me are real. And that was because my studio back in Calgary, in Canada, I had fake books. It was an Amazon poster in the background, which I liked because it was bright white. And all the trolls would come in saying, yeah, those aren't real books. The background is fake. Well, yeah, I would admit to you it's fake. But this is actually a real potato sack, and that's real soundproofing, and that's real concrete behind me. So the trolls will say the stupidest things in the world. When you're in Czech Republic, ask the locals about COVID mandates. Yeah, the only problem is I don't speak Czech. I've got like 40 words, maybe 50 words in my Slovak repertoire. I know the languages are very similar. They were one country at one point. But if anyone wants to travel and speaks Czech, let me know, because I'll be out there at Christmas time when it's really friggin' cold. All right, here we go. Thanks, Debbie. Appreciate that. Okay. So, like I said, I'll stick around, everybody. My name is KevinJJohnston. For those who don't know, I'm Canada's #1 podcaster, Canada's biggest mouth, Canada's most censored man. I'm here in Costa Rica now, where I've got complete and total freedom of speech. And I am adoring the fact that I do not have the police knocking on my door anymore, reminding me that I cannot make commentary about select politicians and so on. I help people relocate to Costa Rica. And every Wednesday we do a show for an hour on Rumble and here. And then for the last hour afterwards, I'll stick around here and answer any questions about life in general or about politics, commerce, geopolitics, whatever you guys want to know, go ahead and let me know. Usually when I do these shows, I call them Your Questions Answered. We've done 28 of those so far. When I do the Your Questions Answered shows, I usually go 3 hours. And we get a lot of questions on that show, because when I do that show, it's not only on TikTok, but it's on Instagram and Rumble, Restream, Facebook, 40 Facebook pages at least. So the rooms are pretty full with questions. All right. Thanks, John. Appreciate that. Mike, everybody here on the West Coast either speaks English or speaks enough to get by. There we go. So you'll get by. If you don't speak Spanish, you'll get by. Just have your Google Translate ready to go, and you're going to be fine. Debbie, thank you, Debbie, for the rose. I appreciate that. JC, yeah, I'm still single, guys. Of course, I didn't come here to pick up chicks. I came here to open a business and to change my economic life, because in Canada you can't make money there anymore. So yes, there are single women all over the place, and I think I told you the one story. I went to a singles night. There was 21 women and me. Like, men just didn't show up. The guys here are busy fishing, camping, dune buggying or side-by-side, climbing mountains. They're doing all, like, boating. The men here, they keep themselves really busy doing things. And the ladies that I was speaking to there, I mean, imagine I go to a singles night where there's 21 women and just me, and I didn't like any of them. I don't like pretension. Life is really short. The human lifespan is nothing in comparison to the universe and so on. And it is incredible that with these short 80 years that we get, maybe 83, that people want to take themselves so seriously that they become unbearable to be around. I hate pretension. I am well aware of what my skills are, and I'm well aware of what skills I do not possess. And by no means am I going to walk around with my head held high because I know 5 facts that somebody in the room doesn't. But everybody else in the room knows 5 facts that I don't. So for me to be pretentious and put my nose in the air and be snooty about it is ridiculous. And I'll say this, my IQ is higher than the average by a lot. But I don't have to make a show of that. I'm not interested in being the only guy in the room doing the talking. And I'm not interested in being the only intellectual in the room. What I want to do is I just want to have conversations about life in general. And if there is another intellectual in the room, then damn it, I'm going to sit with them and have intellectual conversations for the entire evening. Another intellectual is not going to be pretentious. And if they are, they're not that smart. Believe me, pretentious people, they overstate their value and they overstate their intelligence and their importance. So I just don't want to be around it. And I really, if I was to be in the dating game, that would be on my profile. If you're pretentious, piss off. Not interested. If you know how to smile all the time and have a good time and just do goofy stuff and recognize the fact that your lifespan is more than half. If you're over 42, your lifespan's half over. Live it up. Live it up. Thanks for the rose again, Debbie. I appreciate that. Okay, Susan, sorry. You have me curious about what? You said you're a senior, but what were you curious about? If you could just go ahead and ask the question in the bottom there, I'll address that. Debbie, my pleasure. Thanks for being here. I do appreciate that. It's always good to meet new people and to have people interact on the show. So I do appreciate you asking all those questions. Oh, okay. So you're asking me to stretch your money further. All right. So how do you want to stretch your money further, and where did you want to do it? That's, yeah, for sure. Let me know. If you have a more detailed question that you'd like me to address, you can always hit my website, KevinJJohnston.me, and use the contact form. I'll get back to you within 24 hours. Okay. Mike says, I'm amazingly unaware. Amazingly unaware of what? Maybe you could finish your insult in the bottom there, and I will address that. No problem at all. Hear this about a 50-year-old male in the girls' swim room. Yeah, okay, so in Canada, unfortunately, the law says that if a 50-year-old loser, male, identifies as a teenage girl, then he can go into girls' change rooms at schools and public pools and the whole bit. Why this law exists is, it's not beyond me. It's because the pedophiles run Canada. My question is, where are the dads with their fists? That's my question. If some 50-year-old dude decides he's going to walk in the change room with my daughter, he's done. There won't be a tooth left in his mouth. He won't remember his name for at least 3 weeks. That is what we are supposed to do as men, is protect our girls and our children and our wives and our families in general, our lineage. We protect them at all costs. So in Canada, it is legal to have sex with animals. Justin Trudeau made that law. He reduced the age of consent by 2 years. So you had to be 16 to consent to sleeping with an adult. Now you can be 14. Now a 14-year-old girl can say, yes, I want to sleep with this 35-year-old guy. Why? Because, I don't know, he's got a car and he buys me lollipops. I mean, that's how sick our society has become. And then the law changed to allow people to identify as girls who are loser men. Males, not men. Males. I'm disgusted by it. I hope someone... I can pray. I can't encourage you to commit crimes. This is not encouragement. This is a prayer. Please, Lord, have a piece of some satellite fall on this guy's head and drill a hole in it forever. Oh my God, man. I'm tired of the radical left agenda. I'm sick of it. I was asked a really good question earlier in the show. And I want to say this, that if you are gay or lesbian or curious or whatever it is, nobody cares. Nobody cares. Especially me. I don't care. It's a matter of when the radical agenda decides that we must force sexuality on all of society now, where all of society was not sexual, all of society was focused on work and commerce. Now we're solely focused on other people's sexual preferences. I don't want to know what your sexual preference is. None of my business. I'm not telling you mine. Nobody here should be telling me anything about what you do in bed. And believe me, I'm not going to ask. I'm never going to ask. I don't want to know. So the radical leftist agenda are the ones that have brought about all these ridiculous laws that are dangerous. And For those who do not follow history, this happened in Germany before World War I. All right? So if you wanted to have sex with a horse and a baby in Germany in the same day, you could do it. All right? The laws were just there. That said, yeah, go ahead. It's fine. We'll turn the blinders on. The LGBTQ stuff that we see today, that was going on then. So it wasn't that there were subcultures within the country. It's that everything was German culture. Didn't matter what it was. You could be a man walking around naked in the middle of Bonn or Berlin or whatever else it might be and have sex with whomever you wanted to right in the middle of the streets. It absolutely destroyed Germany. Germany got their asses kicked in World War I. And the guy who was the most disgusted by that behavior was, drumroll, Adolf Hitler. He had nothing but disdain for that lifestyle because look what it did to his country. If we're not careful, if we don't slow this stuff down, there will be another Adolf Hitler that arrives at some point. And you're not going to like it because the next one that comes around will be more vicious and more vile than the last one. That's just how it is. Okay, Mike's insulting me here. You talk about pseudo-intellectuals and pretentious people, and your website is your name. What? My website is my name? Well, so's my shirt, and so is all my social media. I'm pretty sure KanyeWest.com is Kanye West's official domain name. I'm pretty sure of that. It's called branding. My brand is KevinJJohnston. Ergo, everything that I own has my name on it. You know, and if my mother was still alive, $50 that she would still sew my name into my underwear so I don't lose them at the pool. My God, man. You got to find something else to get upset about. My website address is not worth a grown man getting upset about. Find something to put your energy into that's positive. John O'Neill's back. Hello, from Ireland. I remember you. Welcome back. No, I did not just compare myself to Kanye West. Because I know that BruceWillis.com was his name and ChristinaAguilera.com and JimCarrey.com. You know, people have their brands. I would never get upset that JimCarrey.com owns the domain name JimCarrey.com. I'm not putting emotional energy into that. In fact, I would be incapable of caring about such a thing. All right. Mike thinks that I'm mad. Mike, I'm not angry. I actually feel sorry for you. I'm trying to explain to you, man, that coming here to troll a guy who's 52 years of age on TikTok, it means that you're lacking something in your life. What you should be doing, if you hate me so much, is not be here, but be out there, finding what you're looking for. That's what I'm saying, Mike. I feel for you. You really shouldn't be here if you hate me. Like, you're allowed to be. You're allowed to hate me. Nobody on the planet needs to like me or is responsible for liking me or has an obligation to like me. But I will point out that my existence should not make you this angry at all. All right. So I'll answer questions for another 29 minutes, everybody. Whatever you guys would like to know, go ahead and throw it in the chat room. My name is Kevin J. Johnston, Canada's #1 podcaster, Canada's biggest mouth, Canada's most censored man. I'm in Costa Rica where I have true freedom of speech and I'm having a blast down here. It is a beautiful country. It's expensive. It's hard to get things fired up, but I did come down here with about $2,000 in my pocket to build a business up. That's what I did. It's a brand new life for me, and damn it, I will succeed. I'm going to make this work because I no longer have the Canadian government getting in my way, telling me that I can't work, that I can't give speeches, that I can't educate people. I gave a speech about cryptocurrency in the town of Leduc, which is just south of Edmonton, which is the capital city of the province of Alberta. 20 people showed up, maybe 25. And I just taught people as to what Bitcoin was. And I got a letter in the mail after that from the Securities Commission of Alberta telling me that I've got no business being in the crypto investment game and selling people crypto. I wasn't selling crypto. I was teaching people what it was. So you can't do anything in Canada without the government finding out about it and then threatening you in some way. So now I am completely outside of all Canadian jurisdiction. There's not a damn thing any Canadian judge could do to me here. And it feels good to be able to have the freedom of thought that I haven't had in Canada for at least 7 to 10 years. Do you worry about losing your money? Stefan, I don't worry about anything. I fully know what my skill sets are. I know what I'm capable of. I have survived, I've survived a lot of really crazy things. And I'm still smiling. And I'm still doing what I do. I'm just doing it better now that I've put myself in a position where I'm no longer comfortable. When you leave your comfort zone, that is where you can really begin to see life success. Johnny Boy says, love how you speak up for us Canadians. Well, I wish more Canadians would do that. I wish more Canadians would step up and do the right thing. They don't. But I'll still continue to come out here and say my piece and tell you what I know to be true, exactly when I know it to be true. I'm not sure. The System Kid is asking me if I'm still getting arrested. I don't know. Are you? Who are you? And what's the point of the question, out of curiosity? I think it's an insult, but let's see if he gives us an answer that's coherent. Yeah, CA Dreaming 66, Canada is, as a country, is done. The two places that can survive would be Saskatchewan and Alberta if they separate from the country. And if they do, I would actually join the military of the newfound country. But Canada is done. It's completely cooked. All right, so TikTok Boss Zone is asking, what's the step to moving here? Buy a plane ticket, have your passport, get off the plane, you can stay for 6 months. After 6 months, you got to leave for 36 hours, come back in, stay for 6 months. That's it. Show up. That's how you get here. Show up. It is that easy, by the way. All right, so yeah, Canadians, I would encourage all of you to not believe the hype about guns. Keep your guns. Guns do not kill people. Usually idiots do, and criminals. That's who kills people. The police in Canada are the problem right now. Their behavior has become what I would call borderline psychotic. If they are instructed to shoot you, they will. So unfortunately, you need to have firearms to protect yourself from the government. Look at Australia. They gave up their guns because the media said, give up your guns, we'll all be safer. And they went, okay. And after they gave up all their guns, rapes and home invasions went up 800% in the first month. And now, the Australian government owns everyone's ass. There's nothing you can do there without the government criticizing you and stopping you from doing it. Australia has become a very dangerous place because the citizens are not armed. Never give up your guns. By the way, people here can own guns and people here can conceal carry, and there have been zero. I haven't seen a gun, not a single gunshot, and I haven't seen a single fist fight, because an armed society is a polite society. Human beings, they need to know that the person in front of them is possibly armed to be polite. That's just how some people are. All right. I don't understand why this government doesn't go after these greedy rental building owners, because the government is in on it. This is a big plan to bankrupt everybody and take over land. That's what this is. The United Nations, UN DRIP, you probably heard about that program where they're trying to actually take away private property rights. This is what they want. They want you reliant on the government. People who are reliant on the government are obedient. They do what they are told. Why do you think Canadian police behave like psychos? They're being ordered to behave like psychos, and they make six-figure jobs. They're not smart enough to make that kind of money on their own in the private sector, so they lash out and they do exactly what the orders are. It's not a good predicament for the country in any way, but this is all by design. Official Desiree's D. Strange. So most will give up easy. Could you build on that just a little bit so I have more context? I appreciate that. Did I move to the States? No, I'm in Costa Rica. West coast of Costa Rica. First Gen Blazer says, we need militia build up in Canada and lots of members. Yes, but Canadians are lazy these days and bought off. Like they're bought off with phones, Netflix, the hockey game, beer, Tim Hortons donuts, pizza. They're not going to do anything. Yeah, we should have one militia in every single town ready to fight the government in Canada. Canadians won't do it. So I wouldn't even suggest it. I'm just saying I agree with you that that's required. Gary says shootings are almost every day in Toronto, especially since the handgun ban. Of course. When you ban weapons for legal gun owners who do not commit crimes with their own guns, the criminals get their hands on more guns and they go shooting. Everyone thinks that they've got the answers to guns. They don't. I do. Everyone should have one. I like Switzerland. They say that every citizen has to own a gun and know how to shoot a gun. Right? So you have to protect your country. That's what Switzerland has done. Imagine that. What happens if you're on a hike and you get attacked by a jaguar and you shoot it? I would keep your mouth shut about that. If you shoot a jaguar here or a panther, it's illegal to do so. Don't say a word about it. And don't film it and stick it on your TikTok channel. Don't do that. Just leave it there. Other animals will eat it. It'll be gone in less than a week. I've been watching you for a while now. Very proud of you. I'll be leaving soon from this crappy place. I assume that that's Canada. Yeah, the quicker you get out of Canada, the better off we're all going to be. Oh, AI takeovers. My biggest concern with artificial intelligence is not that it's going to take us over. It's that stupid people are allowing it to do the wrong thing for the wrong reasons. Courts now in the province of Ontario in Canada are allowing judgments to be done by AI. That's frightening. I do not want my life decided by a computer. Software that can be biased because the programmer can make it biased. It's just how it is. AI is handy though. When I have to make a quick description for something, I just go to tinywow.com and put it in. And I've got myself not one, not two, but 10 paragraphs that I can use. Grab a couple good ones, put them up, and done. Also, I worked with a lot of artists and graphic designers in the past, and they always were late with whatever graphics I was asking them to do. So now I've got 10,000 choices for AI art creators. My favorite one is Hugging Face. I'll just go there, type in what I want, get the image done. I mean, I'm good in Photoshop, so I can take any graphic and crop it out and overlay it and be done with it. I don't have to rely on people. That's one thing I do love about AI, is not relying on people. We used to have a work ethic when I was growing up in the 80s. We had a work ethic. If you had a shift, you went. You did your job. You didn't care about other people's politics or otherwise. You just did your job. And in doing your job, you got paid and didn't get fired. Now, you've got a ton of millennials and younger than millennials on TikTok crying about the fact that they don't want to work. I don't want to work and give my entire life up. We worked. It's what we did. And in the 80s, we were told by our folks, well, in the 50s, we worked harder. They probably did. But the 80s, it seemed like we weren't working as hard, only because we had so much fun. So when me and my friends and my cousins, my brother, like all of us, we worked in grocery stores and we had warehouse jobs. We had all kinds of jobs that we would do. But when the job was done, race home, shower up, go to the club, go to the restaurant, go wherever. We always had a good time. Cell phones, I had one friend that had a cell phone. One. Only because his father made him carry it. It was this tall. It was that thick. It had an antenna that tall on it. Probably weighed 4 pounds. We didn't care about cell phones. Technology back then just wasn't available. So you make phone calls. You'd say, hey, guys, I'm working till 7, 8 o'clock, we're going to meet at Lime Ricky's. And everybody would just go. People wouldn't not show up. And if you were going to be late, we had the common courtesy to go to a payphone, look up the restaurant's phone number in the phone book, phone the restaurant, have a waiter look for our friend and say, you have a phone call. Then they walk over, take the phone in that restaurant, and I'd say, hey guys, listen, I'm a bit of a dumbass. I'm really sorry. I'm going to be late 15 minutes. I'm coming, but I'm late. Yeah, no problem, brother. I'm drinking beer. It was amazing. We had such a good time back then. So it seemed like to our parents and our grandparents that we did not work as hard because we had more options for fun. THX sound had just come out back then. The Commodore 64 was the big computer at the time, but then there's all kinds of new computing power that came out. The Sega Genesis came out. So we had a lot of options available to us to do things. And because video games were kind of crappy back then, they would hold our attention for about an hour, and then we'd go out and hang out with people, because that was a lot more fun. That's the difference between then and now. Now, nobody has a work ethic whatsoever. No one. And I've got a lot of guys that communicate with me saying, hey, I want to do artwork for you. And what do? They just get AI stuff done. And they want to charge me for it. Yeah, get lost. I can't stand that kind of thing. So I'm just going to keep going through your comments here. Do I like Jordan Peterson? Very, 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 very much. Although he's beginning to slow down a bit. It might be because he's really tired. He's done a world tour for the last 3 years now. He might just be exhausted. Any chemtrails here in Costa Rica? No! None. And I'll say it in French. No! None. Okay, the U.S. is right behind Canada if something doesn't change. Yes, New York State is crazy. They've implemented a new law, Section 2.13 or Law 2.13 or Statute 2.13, that says that if someone thinks you're sick, the police will come into your house without a warrant, kidnap you, and lock you up in a medical center for quarantining. That's sick. It's really sick. It's getting bad in the States. Yes, we used to whistle play fight in the 80s. Now it's who can rat out who at work first. Yeah, definitely. I understand that. All right. Debbie says, if you ask them to do what they're hired to do, then they cry that they are being micromanaged. Yeah, they do cry and they whine and they complain. And then they start that, did you misgender me crap? And come on, man. No, I don't get that. The thing with kids these days is they haven't learned respect. They haven't learned that respect is something that you have to earn and it's not easy to do. They believe that respect is just bestowed upon them. And it's not at all. And if you're going to demand respect from me, I'm going to say no. But I'm not going to be rude because I'm not going to lower myself to the level of someone that says, you're going to respect me because I say so. I'm not going to be rude, but I am going to say, I would prefer that you don't bother me. Let's just go our separate ways and leave each other alone. Because I'm not trying to goad anybody into a fight at all. So I'll give you an example of what I mean by respect, especially in reference to the modern generation. A lot of you have seen me do live broadcasts with Ellie. She used to be a man, had all the surgery done, and through a series of conversations that I had with her, earned my respect as a human being. So Ellie, having formerly been a man and now a female or woman, I get it. The X chromosome is still there, or sorry, the Y chromosome is still there, but I get it. She earned my respect as a friend and as a colleague. So I will say, yeah, she, it's fine. The pronoun is acceptable to me because you earned it. But if you're going to shout at me, my pronoun is she and you and I don't care. And fuck off. That's exactly what I'm going to say. Get away from me right now. I do not want to deal with anybody who behaves like that. People get my name wrong all the time. You know, instead of getting angry about it, I just say, oh no, it's pronounced Kevin. All right, you got it. People spell my name wrong all the time. They always forget to put the T in my last name. So I just politely correct them. Oh yeah, hey guys, don't forget the T. Yeah, there you go. That's it. Don't get mad. And if somebody wants to call me ma'am to try to piss me off, it's not going to work. I'm not going to get pissed off at that. I'll just discontinue the conversation with them. It's not my job or my duty or even my right in this lifetime to stick my face in your face and make demands of you that you don't owe me. I think we could all agree on this. So what I want to say here is anybody of any orientation, except for pedophiles, have an opportunity to earn my respect just by being decent people, being interesting when we talk. And you know, you guys, I know that the media's told you that I'm transphobic and homophobic and Islamophobic and all the other phobics out there, but nobody knows what I do in my private time and who I'm talking to and who my friends are. And I think the funniest thing in the world that ever happened was when I was running my mayor campaign in the city of Calgary, and CBC came by calling me homophobic. And my campaign manager said, wait a second, hold on. I'm his campaign manager, and I've known him for 5 years, and I'm gay. And he's like, yeah, I am gay. He's just flicking his fingers like this. That was funny. So then they called me transphobic in the next sentence, and boom, the guy, I mean, I was ripping on him forever. He says he was trans. He joined the team. Now, he had breast implants, but a penis. No. He was on my team. Right? He, she, it, whatever, believed in what I was doing and joined the team. So CBC goes like, what? I can't believe it. A gay guy and a trans person likes this Kevin guy? What? The look on their face was hilarious. But that's the problem when you work under assumptions. And I don't assume anything about anybody at all, because I would much rather have an intelligent adult conversation with everyone and get to know them. And then I'll judge for myself after a couple of conversations if this is someone I want in my life or not. Right? But if the media says that you are a racist and I should avoid them, I'm not listening to what the media has to say. I'm going to shake your hand and introduce myself until you prove to me that you're a crass and vulgar swine, in which case I'll just depart. I'll thank you for your time. I'll be polite, but I'll leave. The only time I get rude is when people make demands of me. Now, if you're my boss, if you're paying me a really good salary and you want to walk in the room and shout commands, I don't take that personally. Shout any command you want. Yeah, sure thing, boss. You'll get it. No problem. I don't care. You're paying me. I've had some good bosses and some bad bosses, but ultimately speaking, if the salary is fair for what I'm doing, he can shout till the cows come home. It's not going to change who I am. Like, people get their backs up. Who does he think he is talking to me like that? He's the guy that cuts your paychecks. All right? And he's an ass. You know, so you can decide to put up with the ass or quit. You quit, that hurts you. There we go. What about all the illegal immigrants in the United States? I think the United States has got to close the border down. Both borders. But they won't. Not until Trump's in office. And by that time, there'll probably be 25 million new illegals in the country. And then Trump is going to have to spend tons of tax dollars to form a task force to get them back out. And then you know what's going to happen. The left wing is going to go nuts and ballistic and cry and whine. But we're all the same. Everyone deserves... No. Get that deserve thought out of your head. None of us deserve anything. We don't deserve anything at all except for what we earn. That's it. That's what you deserve. And even then it can be taken from you. So stop with this. We have to do things for other countries and other races and other cultures because we have feelings. No, man, it's called economics. If bringing in 25 million people who don't work, it would make you money, every country would do it. It doesn't make you money. So right now, only Canada, the United States, and Germany are doing it because they've got far left leaders who are deliberately trying to screw up their countries. Period. Battleaxe says, if you are all of those, you are a bad person. Sorry, could you elaborate? All of what? I'd like to just get a bit more information from you there. Do I like Trudeau? Oh, hell no. Oh, God. I hated his father, too. His father was a staunch communist. His father was, he and his wife were swingers. I don't care about the lifestyle, but what I do care about is the fact that we had a guy who was very aberrant. Justin's father would pass his mother around to all the celebrities that used to hang out in Club 54 in New York. Justin's mother was a whore and a tramp and a slut. It's what she was. And when you've got that kind of an upbringing from those kinds of people, you'll be as screwed up as they are. And he is. Justin Trudeau is a pervert. I mean, come on. The first law that he wrote was bestiality being legal. That's the first thing he did as prime minister of the country. There's something wrong with that entire family. Do I like him? No, I despise him. I was hoping somebody would have done something by now. I prayed for it every day. Never happened. And I never had much luck with praying. If the U.S. ran the border like Costa Rica, we'd be great. Sure. Of course you would. The Costa Ricans, they police their border. They do. But they also, their border guards are trained to recognize who's good for the country and who's not. They really are. So if you show up and you're a scumbag, they'll probably throw you right back out the door. Right? They don't want scumbags and criminals and whatnot here, as Mark said. They don't care about criminal records, but if they do identify you as someone that they think is going to be doing things that are wrong, yeah, they'll kick you out. They'll put you on a plane right there on the spot. They'll put you in a holding cell and put you on a plane and send you on your merry way. Yes, he did, Death Cheridum. Yes, he did. It used to be illegal to put your schlonger in animals before Justin Trudeau, and now you can because he said so. Yeah, yes, he did. Yes, he did. Yes, he did. All right. Okay, so Debbie, thank you, Debbie. No, I'm not lying. It's public knowledge. Do your research. It's a fact. Yeah, it's an absolute fact. Ugh. Left-wing people, far left people, who need to attach themselves to an idea or a clique or an ideology, tend to put beliefs in their head that are not based on fact but only on emotion, and they will defend them until the end of time, even though they're wrong, and they get proven to be wrong. That's sometimes we just have to live and die with people's stupid ideas. Trudeau's mom sure does not look like the sharpest tool in the shed. No, she's not. His mother is not a smart person. She really is out there. But at the same time, I also think that she had a very severe mental illness, and his father took advantage of that, and that's why he passed her around to get political clout. I mean, if you're trying to get a bill passed, I suppose if you let some guy who can sign a bill into the office for you sleep with your wife, maybe you'll get it done faster. Who knows what goes on with these people, honestly. Rumors are circulating in Justin Trudeau's involvement in the Picton pig farm fiasco. There is a contact that I have in Canada who's actually been in contact with Picton. There is a possibility he'll get parole. If he does, I want to hear his story, because there's so many pieces of that story missing. There really are. Patman says that I meant to say right-wing people. No. Right-wing people don't attach themselves emotionally to nonsense. They don't. They will attach themselves emotionally to their jobs, their families, their responsibilities, their communities, their provinces, their countries. That's what they do. The left wing finds an ideology, an idea, like there's 72 genders, and they lose their shit if you don't agree with them. They lose their minds. And you can't convince them otherwise. So, really, at the end of the day here, I'm a conservative. I was raised Christian. I'm a conservative. I am not necessarily an overtly practicing anything, but I will say that my traditions are important to me. So I do go to Mass on Easter and Christmas and Ash Wednesday. It's just what I do. And I celebrate as best I possibly can with the people that I care about on Christmas and Easter and other religious holidays. And for me, my family is number one. My earning potential as a man would be next, because I've got a family to provide for. My culture is important to me. I'm a little bit emotional about hanging on to my culture. My health, I'm emotional about that. But I can tell you this, I'm not emotional about stupid ideas. I don't give a crap who wins the Stanley Cup. I don't give a crap who wins the Super Bowl. I am not one bit interested in who's going to be competing this year for the World Series in baseball. I do not put emotion into stuff that doesn't matter. Those things do not matter. I would never come out and utter a lie and then defend that unto my death. I'm not going to come out and say that there are 72 genders and defend that. That would be stupid. I'm not going to come out and state to you that Earth has 3 suns orbiting it. and then fight tooth and nail to get you to believe that as well. There are people that say these things, and they fight, and they fight, and they argue, and they get emotional, and they're angry about it. No, I'm not doing that. That's what a left-wing individual will do. Stupid comments like open borders are good. That's been proven to be time and time again absolutely false. The Roman Empire fell because of multiculturalism. They'd move into an area, they would defeat everybody there. Everybody who was in these regions that were now defeated became Roman citizens, but they had their own culture, their own way of doing things, their own language, their own clothing, their own food, and they rebelled. Multiculturalism doesn't work. Time and time, the Peloponnesians learned that lesson. The Ostrogoths and the Visigoths, they learned that. Every time you try to incorporate someone else into your society, it will fail if they don't share your values. My values are important to me. Canadian values kept the country going forever, and well, at least until now. Now that all these left-wing values are in there that make no sense, the country's dead. The left wing destroyed everything in less than 25 years. Left-wing ideology destroys. Conservative ideology builds. So you left-wingers out there that want to say right-wing people are responsible for everything that's wrong in the world, no. Absolutely incorrect. Right-wing people are responsible for everything that's ever been constructed, built, and improved upon. It's the left wing that rips it down. You gotta really think through world history and then figure out what your ideology is in comparison to those past events where civilizations fell from the inside out. But you probably will not look introspectively, and you probably will continue to think that I'm wrong, and that's your right. You're not going to affect how I think, and you're not going to slow me down. Not in any way. Yeah, so Johnny Boy. Oh, yeah, nice vet in your photograph there. Cops don't give a crap in Canada. They make over $100,000 a year. Yes, they do, and they shouldn't. You should never pay police officers more than doctors. You should not do that. Most police officers have an intelligence quotient of less than 90. You don't just reward low IQ with high amounts of money and give them guns. Jesus, nobody with an IQ under 100 should have a gun and be told, hey, by the way, you're responsible now for society's running. That's why we're so screwed up as a society. Morons are policing us. What do you think about the people who got the shot? The COVID shot? Well, here's what I can tell you. I went out of my way to tell all of you that there was no pandemic. Please don't take those needles. Masks don't do anything. And what did I get for my trouble? Now, I'm going to go out on record and say that I saved millions of lives because millions of people caught my message. I went to prison for it. I went to prison first for 7 weeks in solitary confinement, then 40 days in solitary confinement, then 12 days in solitary confinement, then 15 days. It just kept going on. They just kept locking me up because I wouldn't shut up about the fact that masks didn't work. They can't. It's impossible. That there was no virus, there was no pandemic, and everyone should just ignore what the government has to say and live your life. I said these things, and I was penalized for it, but I would do it again in a second. When the government comes out and lies and tries to kill people, which they did, it was deliberate murder, I will continue to warn people, these guys are trying to kill you, don't do what they say. Now, there were some out there that thought that I was crazy and Alex Jones and conspiracy theory and so on, but since they've taken their jabs and they're getting sick and they're getting cancer and HIV and myocarditis and they're going blind in some cases, their hearts are enlarged. Do you want me to feel sorry for you? I can't. I did. I tried. I worked very hard on trying to help my country for 3 straight years. You still took your needles. I can't do anything for you. How much money do you need per year to live in Central America? Well, if you're buying your house and you're paying cash for it, here in Costa Rica, you could run your household for less than $7,000 US a year. Just how it is. If you are renting, you can survive quite well, but you have to have an income. You got to make sure you're making money. Maybe your podcast makes money. Maybe you have an online business. Maybe you've got a remote job. Make money. You got to make money in Costa Rica. El Salvador is cheaper than Costa Rica, and so is Panama, but it doesn't mean that you're going to go to these places and find jobs. Many folks from Canada, United States, Australia, New Zealand, and Europe come to these countries so they can build something new. So I would not come down here with nothing in your pocket, not unless you've got contacts down here. I'd come down here making sure that you can support yourself for at least a year. There we go. Okay, and just let me check my email box for questions here, everybody. Hold on a second. All right. And all right. Yes. Okay. There's questions I've already answered here, so I'm just reading the questions out here. Now I'm 52. I don't know why that matters, but I say it all the time. Yes, I am single. I'm divorced 4 years now. I'm very good friends with my ex-wife. It's all cool. I am in Costa Rica currently. I was born in Toronto. Those are all my personal questions you got. That stuff's on my Wikipedia page, I'm pretty sure. So don't worry about that. All right. Thank you, Ahsoka, for telling me that I'm right about the police. I've got way too much experience with police. It's amazing how little they know about the law that they're supposed to uphold. Here's the funniest story ever about cops coming to my door. In my hometown, the city of Mississauga, which is to the immediate west of Toronto, there are 3 cities that make up a region. The region is called Peel, P-E-E-L. Peel region contains Toronto's airport completely within it and has 7 major highways through it, including the most expensive toll road in North America. Mississauga, the police force, they're called the Peel Regional Police. They've got about 2,400 officers to police an entire area that signifies about 1.6 million people. They just don't have enough cops to do this. But that's okay because they're pretty incompetent, so they couldn't do the job even if they wanted to. That police force has some conservative guys. I've spoken to some of the conservative ones. And if you're one of the cool officers that took the time to speak with me in the Brampton courthouse, this is not about you, right? And you know who you are. This is about the fruitcakes on the force. All right? I refer to the Peel Regional Police as Fag Force 1. The reason being is they go out of their way to make themselves look as feminine and ridiculous as possible. Now, when I say fag, I do not mean homosexual. I don't mean gay guy. Fag is it's a demeaning behavior. It's something that you do to yourself to demean yourself. Man buns are one. So if you've got man buns and it hangs down the back, and you've got the hipster beard with little ties in the bottom of it and whatnot, you're a combination of a woman and a biker. It looks retarded. I've seen some of the guys that they've hired there. They're like 5'2", 5'3", 140 pounds. Those guys that get killed in a fight. And the number of women on the force is ridiculous. Women do not make good cops because you're not cut out for it, ladies. I love you. I love women. I do. I love you guys. I love you. I love women. No one treats women better than I do, but I do tell the truth. And women do not have the temperament for the trade of being a police officer, and you cannot stop a man. You just can't. Even with training, you can't stop a man. So what the Peel Regional Police Force has done is they've hired like the most far left freaks that they can possibly get their hands on. Like, we're talking people with mental illness galore. So what happens is this one cop just didn't like what I was saying online. Loser. He knows who he is. Absolute loser. Loser. Shows up at my house. I'm in my car. Cuts me off and blocks me in. Shows up with him. He's plainclothes detective and he's acting all tough. And he's got 4 other cops with him with guns. And they're all on my driveway. They want to arrest me because I insulted somebody on the internet. Right? That's why he's there. Now, I made a big production out of it. I just yelled through the car window because I was not unlocking the door until I got my lawyer on the phone. I said, hey, Ian, I got 5 cops. And that loser that doesn't like me, he's here. He's the arresting officer. So can you please pre-negotiate for me before I surrender myself for bail? Like, let's get this done in advance. So he actually called the courthouse in advance and got my bail organized for me before they even arrested me. He's a good lawyer. And then I went live on Instagram saying, okay, so he actually called the courthouse in advance and got my bail organized for me before they even arrested me. He's a good lawyer. And Then I went live on Instagram saying, okay, guys, I'm not armed. You promise not to shoot me? Please don't shoot me. You know, I'm making jokes out of it because I've got 5 losers on my front porch arresting me for insults. All right. But this is where it gets hilarious. Is I get in the back of the police car, and the one cop says to me, you're not going to do anything stupid, are you? I said, no, of course, you guys, no. You know that I'm not. He says, all right, well, we won't handcuff you if you won't do anything stupid. I said, well, I appreciate that. So I will now proceed to sit in the back of your car. And I opened the door for myself and got in. Because I'm not going to create a scene beyond the funny stuff I do on social media. Now, I'm sitting in the police car, and the rookie cop up front there doesn't know that I can see his screen. And his screen has my name, my birth date, my address, and so on. But they got my hair color wrong. This is not brown. They got my height wrong. They got my weight wrong. They got, they got the spelling of my middle name wrong. All that was wrong. Yet they still knew to come to my house and get on my nerves. But then it says, do not, let's see, hold on. Oh, yes. Kevin Johnston always has a camera on him, and he knows the law. He films all police interactions. Be careful what you say around him. Then below that it says, he does not attack police officers. He is no threat and will probably cooperate with you. So I read that. I'm thinking, all right, this is cool. So the cops know that I'm not going to walk around beating up cops. That's stupid, by the way. Like, oh, man. You know how stupid that is? Like, to even think about walking up to a cop and just laying him out cold. That's dumb. Hey, and when cops are giving me a difficult time, they're trying to goad me. They want to get me angry. That's not going to happen either. I'm not going to do it. And so after all those years of trying to make me angry, the police force realized, okay, this guy, we're not going to make him angry. So let's just write down his psychological profile that he's level-headed, cool, and he won't lash out. And I have been arrested by cops 22 times, and about half of those times, they didn't make me wear handcuffs because it was in the report that I'm not going to give them a difficult time. But I was proud to see on that screen that that's what it said. But it also, there was a warning to the other officers that I record everything. And they are right, I do. And they are correct, I do know the law. And I do know bylaws. And I do know procedure. That is absolutely correct. So a cop that wants to step out of line will be punished in the future in the courts by me. They know that. So this cop, we're talking a little bit here, and he says, yeah, I don't even know why you're here. I said, oh, because I cracked some jokes on Twitter. He goes, really? I was just told to drive you to the station. And I said, yeah, well, there's a lot of things that you don't know. I said, bet you $50 you think bylaw officers in Canada have power. He goes, well, what do you mean? They don't? I said, no. Bylaws, municipal bylaws do not pertain to citizens of any city in Canada. They only pertain to people who work for that city. The case law in Canada is clear. So if you want to keep bylaw officers off of your land, you just send a warning letter in to all of them at your city hall, and now they can't come on your property. It's a trespass notice. The bylaw officers have zero authority. You don't even have to talk to them. If they start asking you questions, can I see your ID? Hey, yo, man, go fangulo. Huh? That's just get rid of them. And then ignore them. Or, better yet, get your phone out and start asking them questions. Have you had anything to drink today, sir? Where have you been? Have you been doing drugs today, sir? I smell drugs. You know, bylaw officers are nothing in Canada. They're nobodies. But this cop who was driving me to the police station didn't know that. I said, well, I'm going to give you some case law, and I'd like you to look it up, and if we ever talk again in the future, you can tell me that I was right. And sure enough, my lawyer had done the good job. They held me for 2 hours, and they had to release me because the bail was already organized in advance. And that's what happens if you have an opportunity to call your lawyer before you're taken into custody, because the cops cannot shatter my glass unless they get a warrant to shatter my glass to get me out of the car. All right, so with that, call your lawyer, get everything prearranged if you can. That's an absolute must. All right, because I remember Chris Skye, I think it was like 11 or 12, York Regional Police came to his door to arrest him. He would not get out of his car. And he gets onto Instagram, and he says, call 911, everybody, call 911. I've got police officers here trying to kidnap me and assault me. And after all that, people were actually phoning his lawyer on his behalf. And his lawyer called the station and said those cops have to back off because they didn't actually have to arrest him. They just needed to give him a summons to appear in court. And that's how you do things in Canada. You've always got to have access to your lawyer on the phone, and you always got to go live. You just cannot trust anything police do. And even though I'm respectful, it's because it's who I am. But many of them don't deserve respect. They just don't. Especially the left-wing cops, especially the ones in Peel region. So one cop, she was giving me a real tough time. All right, during this mask crap, I was in the station and she was barking, put a mask on. I said, I can't. I'll start shaking. I'll start convulsing. All right, so she says, here. And I put the mask like this and I start going, right? And she got mad. Well, if you've got that much of a problem, you should take drugs. I take drugs. I said, really? Well, what do you take? I take antidepressants because this job is hard. Like, why the fuck is she telling me that? That's the weird part about this generation of millennials. It is amazing how much personal information you give away for free. So this cop was what? Trying to make a point that because she takes drugs, I should take drugs? No thanks. I don't like taking prescription drugs, not for anything. I don't even like painkillers. So how stupid is this person to be in a uniform like that, a costume like that, supposedly representing the law, and then screaming at a middle-aged guy twice her age, demanding that he takes drugs? Wow. That's not someone who's level-headed. That's not someone who should have a gun. That person should actually be banned from firearms, fired, and maybe put into some kind of counseling. That individual had a lot of things wrong with her. And whatever her particular daddy issues were, they weren't my fault and they weren't your fault. And they don't vet. When they're hiring police officers these days, they're not vetting. They're not doing the psychological tests like they used to. It's pretty sad. In fact, it's pretty much going this way. What's that? You are lesbian, you're gay, you're trisexual, quadrisexual. What's that? You sleep with elephants? Oh man, you're perfect. Let's join this police force right now. We can't wait to pay for your lipstick and your sex change surgery and give you a gun and then tell you to go arrest people like me who disagree with your bizarre outlook on life. There we go. Oh, I'm getting behind on messages here. All right. JC, again, appreciate that, man. Thanks for being here. You are correct, Red. You cannot help everyone. I'll help what I can and who I can, but I can't help everybody. You're absolutely correct. Debbie, don't get vaxxed. Yeah, don't ever do that. I'm just checking out more messages here. David says, I got it. Thank you. Hey, gorgeous Hal is here. She says this guy knows what he's talking about. Thank you very much for that. Uh-oh, you just got your live video ended here. I certainly hope not. I'm still live, right? You guys can still see me? I hope so. It says I'm live. All right, by the way, we are at 11,900 likes. Can we get to 15,000 likes right away? Can all of you just go like this, rapid fire? Boom, hit the screen. Let's get the likes up on this video because it really does help the algorithm find me and find content similar to mine. So if you like this content, just keep hitting that like button. Let's get the hearts jumping all over the screen, please. It does help a lot. Yeah, First Gen Blazer, you're right. More people should know their rights. I wish they did. I have always questioned authority because to me, just authority doesn't make sense. Every single human being is around for the same reason. Your mom and dad did stuff. Dad went, lied about having a condom on, and here we are. What makes anybody special because they've got a title or a costume on? And I just don't believe that one human being has authority over the other, unless one's got guns, in which case he's a tyrant, not an authoritarian. And the reason that cops have power is because of their guns and because of this archaic belief that they're actually important. They used to be, but they're not anymore. It's an obsolete concept now. We have to dream up something completely different if we want to be safe in our society. Matt says, you can absolutely not trust the cops. Hamilton cops are awful as well. Yeah, Hamilton, Ontario, about 45 kilometers west of Toronto. It used to be a cool town because it was the blue-collar town of the province of Ontario. But yeah, the politicians and the police have just wrecked the place. It's not worth even visiting. I wouldn't go. Oh, and by the way, thank you to everybody who's following me. That also really does help. I do appreciate that very, very much. Can you talk a little bit about your court case with CRA? You mean the Canada Revenue Agency? That's a long time ago. That's 2000. 2000. I want to say it's 8 years ago now. Are you talking about Canada? Okay, first off, they never sued me. Canada Revenue Agency's never sued me, and they've never taken me to court, and they've never gotten a court order against me. They gave up. I messed with them a few times. There's a Pakistani guy just screaming in the phone, "You have to come into the office, you have to get everything done. We want you to do your paperwork, you're going to do your taxes, I will take your house, I will put you in jail, blah, 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 blah." And that got on my nerves. He couldn't have called to say, "Hi, my name is Parminder Singh. My badge number is 2428. I'm with Canada Revenue Agency. Could I speak to you for a few minutes, please, about your taxes?" That's the proper approach. Screaming at me? Hey, I'm not going to hit you or throw acid in your face or anything like that, but I will deal with you. And this guy here, I dealt with him by saying, "Look, I don't appreciate this. Don't call me. Don't ever call me again. I know you're recording this call, so we're going to enter into a contract right now. If you ever call me again, I'm going to charge you criminally. Do you understand?" He said, "Well, you cannot do that." I said, "Whatever." I hung up. And then he called me again, and he threatened me. And he told me that he was going to take my house and take my money, take everything I had if I did not do what he says. So that's extortion and intimidation. That's two very serious crimes. Criminal harassment because he refused to stop bothering me. And there's one more in there. There's another charge. I forgot which one it was. But I said, "Well, dude, you just fucked up." So I went to the courthouse and I charged him criminally with 4 charges. And when he got a summons served to him by the police, and when he showed up, he's in his best suit and he's crying. "I am so sorry. I did not mean that. I'm just reading a script. I'm just doing my job." So I don't care. You're going to jail. Bye. Tell it to the judge. Now I knew that they would throw the charges out. I knew. But the look of terror on this loser's face was so worth it. It was so awesome, man. God, that was just the greatest. Canada Revenue Agency is a for-profit corporation that's not registered inside of Canada. They are not a government office. So when they put liens on your house, I work with an accounting firm that just gets rid of those liens. All right? When they freeze your bank account, you sue the bank and you sue the CRA and the officer that did it. These people, they're losers. They think they have power. They don't. You have to go on the attack. The second that they go on the attack with you, go on the attack right back. Call the cops. File a police report. If the cops don't want to deal with it, go to the courthouse. File criminal charges. Don't let these people scream at you. They're losers. They get to go home to their cushy lives. Let's find out who they are and let's phone them. Let's call them at home. Let's pester them. Let's threaten them. You're losers. All of them. And besides, why are we paying income tax? Justin Trudeau just printed $2 trillion in the last, 8 years and gave it away. He can print money whenever he wants. I'm not giving any to him. All of you should stop paying your taxes right now. What the hell are you doing? Hey, Perry Blatt. Jesus, man. How you doing? It's been a long time. The guy watching right here, Perry, we used to scare kids at Canada's Wonderland with costumes on. It was our job. We didn't do it for kicks. It was our job. Yeah, I remember, Perry. How you doing, brother? I hope you're doing well. I really do. First Gen Blazer says, "Kevin, you and I are cut from the same cloth. Why did all that cut stop?" Man, I don't know. I wish I had that answer. More importantly, though, I wish there was just more people like me and you who shoot their mouths off and don't care about the consequences because we know that we have the moral high ground. My God. Thanks, Hal. Appreciate that. Yeah, so Marcus, I was able to get him on 4. I'm just trying to remember what the 4th charge was that I was able to get him on. It'll hit me like when I go to bed tonight, that's when it's going to hit me. It's just one of those things, right? What if they take your tax returns to pay back SIR BS? Well, if they, oh, sorry, you're saying what if the government owes you money and they take it back? File a lawsuit against them. It'll probably be small claims. Depending what province you're in, small claims I think is $35,000 in Ontario and $50,000 in Alberta. Sue them. Just sue them. Their lawyers are going to cost them about $500-600 an hour. They're not going to want to blow that kind of money. They'll probably cut you a settlement check. Now, every time I sued one of the banks, I would always sue them for $5,000 or $6,000, and they would cut me a check to get rid of me. Yeah, there's bank accounts that corporations have for what they call nuisance lawsuits. So they have these separate accounts with money in them that earn interest, and that is what pays settlements out. So Scotiabank sold my information to some clown who called me up trying to get me to come to some seminar in some town somewhere about mutual funds. I have no interest in mutual funds. So I asked him, hey, buddy, listen, you got my information from where? He goes, oh, yeah, we work with Scotiabank, right? He says, with, not for, with. Fine. I got his name. I got his office number. I got his website address. I called Scotiabank to tell them I was going to be suing them. I recorded that call, and the girl on the phone says, yeah, you just go right ahead and sue. Okay, thank you. And I did for $5,000. They cut me a check for $1,750. Bank of Montreal did the exact same thing. They paid me off with $2,000. Right? People think you're going to get rich and retire on lawsuits. It's not how it works. Lawsuits could actually be a supplemental income because these big corporations don't want to spend $2,000 every few hours for their lawyer to defend everything because you've got the right to refuse their settlement offer. And then they got to pay the lawyer for the trial. So if they can get rid of you for $2,000, they'll do it. And they'll send some student lawyer out to sign everything, shake hands, take your check, and thank you. There you go. Yeah, Matt says the average tax rate is 46%. It's insane. In Canada, between fuel tax, provincial sales tax, federal tax, income tax, property tax, liquor tax, entertainment tax, now they have luxury car tax. Canadians blow about 63% of their income on tax. It's not worth it. There's too little payoff for what that is. United Non-Compliance, thanks for being here. I do appreciate that. First Gen Blazer, you are correct to say that there is no law that says you have to pay tax. You are absolutely correct. Not one. I couldn't find a single law in Canada that says you have to pay tax. Period. Okay, we got Fun Time says, hey man, I hear you loud and clear. Any country can print money and keep itself going without our taxes. Yeah, so let's just stop paying tax. Why do all of you want to comply with this system? Why do all of you think that cooperating with some faceless government entity is actually the moral thing to do? If you're not feeding your kids because you're paying tax, you're not a moral person. You're a fucking coward. Now, cowardice is not a virtue. There are so many people out there that believe that cowardice is something that makes them a good person. It's not. You're just a coward. You will not stand up for what's right. You cannot be counted on when the time comes for you to be counted on. And you will fold up and injure your own family and your own well-being and your own family's future out of fear. Out of fear of things that you don't understand. You wouldn't fear the tax laws if you read them. And you realize they're not laws. They're a joke. Right? That's why I don't fear parking tickets. I know I can win. You know, bylaw officers anywhere in Canada, whenever they start talking to me, I break the camera out. And I make them look like idiots. And if they start walking away, I follow them and I keep asking them questions. How about this? All right, guys, you remember in Calgary, in Alberta, at the beginning of the pandemic, I was there with Pastor Archer Pawlowski. And they brought this temporary medical, what was it now? Was it an order or was it just an idea? Where you could not be in the same car with somebody if you weren't married to them, right? You actually had to be spouses to be in the same car together. That didn't last for much more than a month. Do you know why? Me. All right, let me tell you what happened. 2 bylaw officers are sitting in their car in front of City Hall in Calgary. Right across the road, Pastor Archer Pawlowski is feeding homeless people, which he always does. Good for him. God bless him for it. I said, Art, come on over here. And I had the camera right up against the window. And I'm knocking on the glass saying, are you two married? Are you two married? You have to give each other tickets now. You're not married. You're a black man and you're a white man. You're not married. Are you? Talk to me. Tell me the truth here. And after about 5 minutes of me needling these bylaw losers, they put the cherries on in their car and they drove away, and we're all just howling with laughter. Just howling with laughter. And then a month later, that ordinance was gone. Right? So when you go on the attack, everybody, with a smile on your face, you can actually win without guns, but you got to be consistent. And you all have to join forces and fight these idiots. You truly do. I'm just reading your comments here. Fun times. Hi, how can I pay the least tax and live outside of Canada? Well, once you leave Canada, you don't have to pay tax. Canadian citizenship is not like U.S. citizenship where you've got to report your earnings all around the world. Just leave, and that's it. Anything that you make outside of Canada is yours. You don't have to pay tax. Just get out and stop paying tax. Everyone pays taxes in Canada while we sleep. It's a joke. Yeah, it's all fear. And it's amazing. Oh, Miranda, thank you for the roses. Appreciate that. It's amazing how many people think that they have the moral high ground because they pay their taxes on time. And I've had people scream at me at the top of their lungs. It's not fair that you don't do taxes. It's not fair. I have to, so you have to. And then I tell them, you don't have to. But ultimately speaking, if you were to put 17 2-liter Coke bottles up your ass, I'm not going to do that as well. Just because you do it doesn't mean I have to. Holy crap, people are idiots, man. They really are. Hey, Hal, I'll lead. I know you'll follow. You're the best. There's a common question there, TikTok Bozo, or Bosso. But if I don't pay taxes, I will go to jail. Everyone asks that. And I ask, which law are you quoting? Really? How many people do you know that have gone to jail in Canada for owing tax dollars? Is it 0? Do you know why? Because you don't go to jail for owing tax money. Period. Here's a good question. G. Ballface 7. How do you stop paying taxes? This is what I did. We have a social insurance number in Canada. It's a 9-digit number. On that card that they print for you when you apply for this card, that's what they tax you on. If you don't have that number, you cannot pay tax. So what I did, I sent them a registered letter, but I also faxed it. This is back in the days when email was not a very common thing and fax machines were all the rage. So I sent a registered letter in with my card inside of it, stating that I never asked for a social insurance number. I have never signed any contract that said I want to pay tax. You do not pay me to file taxes. You do not pay my accounting fees to have my taxes done. Ergo, I am out of your system. If you can show me the law that says I must pay tax, or you can show me a contract that I have signed with actual informed consent. If you cannot show me that in 90 days, then our relationship is terminated. I will never pay taxes again. They did not reply. I sent them up a follow-up letter stating that thank you very much for not replying. I am no longer paying income tax. Do not send me T4 slips. It's that simple. That's how you don't pay tax. Now, what's stopping all of you from doing the same thing? If you really do want to pay those crazy income taxes in Canada, I'm not going to stop you. But I'm just going to ask you, why? What the hell are you thinking? It doesn't get you anything anymore. It used to be that taxes built our country up. Now, they just get given away to Zelensky or given away to any parties that be that don't deserve it. It's just given away. Trudeau is worth how much now? $800 million since he took office? He'll be worth more when he leaves. My God. Stop paying your taxes. Correct, First Gen Blazer. It was a Second World War time measure to raise money for the war effort. So it used to be called the War Income Tax Act. Then it just became the Income Tax Act. They never got rid of income tax after that. And that is the grossest concept in the world. I earn my money. You don't. There is no facet of government that ever made it easy for me to make money. The education that I received was bullshit. It was god-awful in Canada. It's worse now. 1,000 times worse now. But think about what the government did to me over the course of the first 25 years of life. They put me through 18 years of garbage school. They had me in a position to pay taxes, but never got me to sign a contract, and never once educated me on what taxes even were. It's just something you have to do. That's it. You have to do it. So the government took money from me for all those years, and I got nothing for it of any particular benefit to me. So why would I want to be part of that? What also really bothers me is that the last time I did my taxes was 2000, and it cost me something like $7,500 to have the accountant do all my work for me, because there was just that much to go through. And it took me months of my time. I didn't get paid for any of that. To get my taxes done? Forget it, man. I'm out. I'm out of their stupid game. Thank you, Miranda, for the roses. I do appreciate that. How can I earn legally outside of Canada and have a bank account? You can be in Canada and work remote for any company anywhere in the world. So there's nothing stopping you from doing so. It's just up to you if you want to pay tax or not. I just told you don't have to. It's up to you. If you want to, go ahead. I'm just suggesting that you don't. What is the departure tax for leaving Canada? There's no such thing. If you want to leave Canada with all of your capital, pick up and leave. Just go. Transfer your money to the appropriate bank account wherever you're going, and that's it. Bye, Canada. There's no such thing. You're good. Revenue Canada will take your money from your paychecks unless you file an ex parte motion in the courts to have that removed, which is about $100. Go get it removed. They have to sue you and win. And then they have to do a discovery to find out what you have before they can do that. Just go get it done. And then criminally charge the officer that did it and sue the Canada Revenue Agency. Go on the attack with them all the time. How does that affect Canada Pension Plan and old age stuff? Well, if you don't pay taxes or into CPP or any of that stuff, you're not going to get it. But let's ask a serious question here. If you want to pay income tax and Canada Pension Plan and UI and whatever else you pay on your paycheck, you're losing, if you make $100,000 a year, you're losing how much? 48,000 of that? Maybe about 41,000 out of 100,000 every year. What you will get with your old age pension will be what? $950 to $1,250 a month? Not even $20,000 a year. So you're going to give up $40,000 a year to make back $20,000 a year in retirement. Why not keep that $40,000 and invest it in something? Property, gold, silver. Now you can do Bitcoin. Invest it in something. But damn it, don't give it away. Everyone says the same thing, but I want a pension, so I'm going to cooperate. Do you think that the Canada Pension Fund is going to have any money left over in it by the year 2035? Come on. It's going to be empty. And if Canada does go to the central bank digital currency, what do you think is going to happen then? There will be no pensions. So keep your money and invest it. I did an amazing seminar. I've said this before, I'll say it again. An amazing seminar where a young lady gets out of school. At age 18, she works from 18 to 65. and we worked out all the taxes that she paid over the course of all those years, and then at the end of it, she saved only $130,000. That's it. But if she never paid taxes once and invested her money, by the time she's retired, she had $1.7 million in the bank, making a paltry $48K a year. If you don't pay tax and you invest your money, you don't need a pension because you'll be living off the interest of your own investments. Okay. Alice says, how do we do that and keep a job? Sorry, how do you do what and keep a job? Could you elaborate on the question, please? Yeah, they stopped sending T4s. They actually have never sent them to me since. And they had one guy call me once to audit me, and I charged him criminally. And it all went away. Can you do that in the United States? Well, I don't know if you guys ever remember Penn and Teller's TV show. It was called Bullshit. They did a really good episode on the American taxation system. And the experts that they had come on the show said that there were no laws in the USA that said you had to pay tax. So I don't know really where the IRS gets its authority from, but I do know that they're crazy. However, that being said, the IRS is also very easy to defeat in court. The Church of Scientology already proved that. Wow, did they ever prove that? When the Church of Scientology wanted to get church status, the IRS wouldn't give it. Thank you, Nirvana, for the rose. I appreciate that. The IRS would not give them not-for-profit corporation status. So the church turned around and sued the IRS, every single person who worked for them, all the directors, the employees, the couriers, everybody. They sued them all, and the federal government. And they won. And they won without going to trial. So the IRS is defeatable. And in the United States of America, unlike Canada, when you sue the government, you can actually win in the United States. Why are people not suing the IRS for fraud? That's my curiosity. I don't live in the United States. I'd like to, but I don't live in the United States. And I have never filed a lawsuit within the United States. So I don't know what to do to guide you there. Also, I'm not a lawyer, so I can't give you legal advice. But I can give you life advice. And my life advice is, if there is a way for you to check any and all case law where people have sued the IRS and won, read that case law to find out what the IRS was sued for. And see if anybody's rulings, it's called the relief of the lawsuit, see if anybody was able to stop paying taxes for the rest of their lives. That would be pretty amazing. There we go. How can you work without a SIN number? You simply tell them that you do not have a SIN number. And if the employer says, well, we can't hire you without one, that's actually a lie. What do? You file a lawsuit. Right? You'd be amazed at how quickly things change when you show up with a $10 million lawsuit on someone's front lawn. Yeah, guys, you can't be pushed around. You can also say, I would rather work on contract, if you don't mind, because then I can write off my studio space at home, my fuel for my car, my lunch. You can write all that stuff off. If you care about doing that. I wouldn't care. I ran small businesses for a long time, and I just gave up on reporting taxes. There was no point. It's just too much work. It was more work to do accounting than it was to do the work I was being paid for. So I just gave up on it. It was pointless. I kept all my receipts. I gave them all to a friend of mine and said, here, you write this shit off. I don't want it. We can't get hired without a SIN number. Yes, you can. File motions in the courts. People, Canlii in Canada, CANLII.org. You can look up all the case law in there. There's case law where people have won this stuff and it sets a precedent. Just quote that case law and you're in. Okay. Does Costa Rica have covered health care? Oh yeah. And it's good too. Yes, it does. Yes, it does. Don't pay tax. Use our hospitals. Don't drive on our roads. Don't use any social systems. Well, you see, there are economic theories out there that have not been implemented in North America, which should have been a very long time ago, which would have government slush funds specifically and only for infrastructure. Because a government realizes that when you have infrastructure, you've got foreign investment. When you've got foreign investment, what else do you have? Tourism, which brings in more money. You can have these funds. Now, stop for a second, gotta men, whatever your name is. Think about this. Trudeau has put Canada in debt $2 trillion. No new highways, no new airports, no new seaports, no new rail lines, no new subways, no new nothing. With $2 trillion, if that was used for Canadians, we could have had a 10-lane highway right across the country by now. He doesn't care at all. So if he is going to take our money for infrastructure and give it to Zelensky, so Zelensky can dance around in a skirt and suck Trudeau's dick, well, no thanks, I'm not going to be paying for that infrastructure that he should be paying for with those slush funds, with money he created out of thin air in the first place. And if he can create money out of thin air, I will not be giving him what I earned, because he didn't earn it. I can't create money legally. He can. So he can create it. And what we could do here, Burger Duggaman, whatever your name is, we could, as a society, start paying attention to who our politicians are and what they actually know about economics. And then say to ourselves, you know what, this guy's a clown. He's a failed singer, or he's a failed drama teacher, or he's a failed failure. We can be anything. And say he's not cut out for the job. We want an economist in office. But Canadians don't think that way. They don't say, yeah, I want the economy to thrive. I'm going to vote for the economy this time around. You don't do that. Millions of women in Canada voted for Trudeau because he had nice hair. So it's all based on emotion. You people don't think. And because you don't think, look at the country you've got now. It's a piece of shit. So what we need to do is start adopting new economic theories. These old ones are not working anymore. We need a new court system. What we have doesn't work anymore. Policing is obsolete. We need something better. We need something more geared towards the modern world. This way of the police being able to assault you and put handcuffs on you and kidnap you, lock you in the back of a car, and then lock you in a jail cell because someone else doesn't like you? You don't see something wrong with that? Think about this. Two guys get into a bar fight in January of 2000, let's say. And in this bar fight, they both get arrested. They both have to hire lawyers because they're charged with assault and causing a disturbance. And then, 3 years later, some loser in a black dress has to decide who was right in this fight and who was wrong. Which one's guilty? He wasn't there. It's a fight between two guys in a bathroom. Why is the public paying for that? If two guys want to fight in the bathroom, let them. It's got nothing to do with me. So I'm not going to pay taxes, but I will use the hospitals, and I will use the roads, and I'll use whatever I feel like using until I'm told it's illegal to use them, and then I'll use them anyway again. We need a new economic theory that does not strip its citizens of their wealth. And those theories exist. What is the age of retirement in Canada? Was it increased? I don't know. I know they were talking about increasing it. It was 65. I don't know if it's more or higher now. I should actually look that up. I'm sorry, I don't know. Trudeau lowered it to 65. The Conservatives raised it to 67. How much money do you need to leave? Depends what country you're going to. Costa Rica, I would highly recommend $500K US or more. Bali, nothing. Thailand, maybe 50,000. Just depends what country. Where do you want to go in the world? Okay, so Jack, you make a good point, Jack. Property tax in Canada is the only tax you have to pay. The only one. Because it is easy for municipalities to take your property, sell it, and get the taxes out of it. Which should be illegal, I might add. But it's the one place where if you don't pay your taxes, you're screwed. But keep this in mind. Even if your property tax is $5,000 a year, if you're not paying your income tax, your property tax is nothing. It really is nothing. So do not stop paying your property tax. Do stop paying every other tax. First time viewer, I have a big CRA issue. Can I consult with you offline? Yes, but I'm not a lawyer. So I will tell you what I know about CRA, and I'll tell you what I would do but I am not giving legal advice because I cannot by law. Although I am in Costa Rica now. There's no jurisdiction that the government has, but I still just want you to understand that. So go to my website, KevinJJohnston.me, use the contact form, give me your name, subject line, give me all your information if you can, and we can chat about that. First Jen says he hasn't paid taxes in 3 years. Good. Now make it 30. If I'm working remotely for a Canadian company living outside of Canada, how do you stop paying tax? You're going to have to negotiate that with your boss at that point. $50 is he doesn't understand in any particular way. Now, is this a good job or a bad job? Does this job pay your bills? Are you surviving as it is right now? What you would need to do is be a little ginger, because if you're outside the country and they decide just to terminate you, well, then you'd have to fly back and fight it in court and so on. If you're working for companies, you have to negotiate at the beginning when you get the job. I will not be utilizing a social insurance number. I turned it in years ago. I don't have one. That's when you negotiate. If you invested some money you'd save from not paying taxes, that would be better. Yep. Absolutely. Let me just check the email box here, folks, because I do get emails during these shows. What is the price of silver right now? I think it's $30 an ounce, Canadian. I think it's 24 US. There you go. Okay, I'm 68 and my disability retirement is being paid for years. I didn't quite understand that. Could you rephrase that for me, please, if you don't mind? Thank you. What's the solution if you're already on pension? Well, if you're already on pension, you're getting your money. It's probably barely enough to get by. But at this particular point, there's not much you can really do. If you want to sue CRA for all the money they took, the statute of limitations is 2 years. So you'd be able to get 2 years worth of your last taxes. But maybe you could give me some more details so that I understand a bit more what the situation is. Just checking your comments here, folks. Yeah, become self-employed and do cash work. Sure, why not? Cash is still king. It's going to be around for a short while longer. Okay. I don't try to make trouble for the government, and they send me a decent disability retirement check. Okay. If you're happy, then don't do anything. I'm not here to tell you to do things when there's no reason to do so. If you're happy with the way that you are living right now, stick with it. Thank you, Hal. Hal says I'm a man for the people. I appreciate that. I really do. Just checking more of your comments and your questions here. Oh, by the way, we're at 20,000 views. Could we get to 30,000 views? Do you think we could do that? Could all of you start rapid firing the screen right now, please, and just get the likes? Let's make it infinite. Let's really show TikTok that this is the kind of content that we want on TikTok, as opposed to the weird stuff that I see all the time. It's mostly toilets flushing and guys breaking stuff and prank videos. Oh, I hate prank videos. God, they're so stupid. Yeah, lottery money should be going into infrastructure. I haven't been following where the lottery dollars are going in Canada, but that's where it should go. It should absolutely go. Young people want pot legalized. Yeah, it was easy for Trudeau to sucker the youth into voting for him. Hey guys, we're going to make pot legal. Like, oh yeah, man. Yeah. I don't know. I don't smoke the stuff, mainly because I get tired and I stop thinking. I like thinking. It shuts off my thinking process, and I get really hungry and I eat really awful stuff. So I figure it's not for me. But if it's for you, go for it. I wouldn't vote for someone based on making weed legal or illegal. That would not be a deciding factor for me. It's a deciding factor for a lot of people, though. Why hasn't there been a non-confidence vote for Trudeau? Because the Canadian system does not have that within it. Because there is no such thing as a non-confidence vote within Parliament. That's why. We don't have that kind of protection in Canada. The Prime Minister can do whatever they want, unfortunately. Colombia used Pablo Escobar's drug money to rebuild. That's why it's such a nice country today. That's awesome. Good for them. Because a lot of people talk about how good Bogota is today. We can make everything free and still have everyone doing what they love. Well, we can't make everything free. No, that's not how it works. But there are economic theories, as I was mentioning earlier, where infrastructure projects could be built with slush funds that are outside of the norm. There are many economic theories that I have read. Some of them are brilliant, but I can promise you nobody in government's read those very same books. So we are stuck with the same old stupid system that will crash one day. And then what? Well, there'll be a rebuild. And Candy says, I agree with what you said 100%. Thank you, Candy. I do appreciate that. How's Costa Rica? Hot during the day, nice at night. People are awesome. I'm having a great time here, folks. It's beautiful. Yeah, Candy, good. You're not paying taxes for 3 years? Good for you. I love it. Thanks for following me, by the way. 67 is the new retirement age. You can get early CPP at 60. Well, if you can get Canada Pension Plan at 60 and you can work for cash, do that. Take the money. If the government's giving it away, take the money. I told everybody when CERB came out for the fake pandemic, I told everyone, just take it. All the foreigners who don't speak English, they'll take it. They'll buy drugs with it. You can do something good with it. Just take it. Whatever they're giving away. And if they put everybody on universal basic income, take it. Everyone else will. You don't have to be someone who has principles when you're dealing with a government that has no principles. If they're going to give you free money, take it. Okay, just checking a few things out here. Reading all your comments. How to make $1 billion in 1 year. Well, if I had that answer, I probably wouldn't be on TikTok. Yeah, you make a good point, Tim. You say under duress on your tax check memo line. Whenever someone tells you to sign something, stop signing things. All right? If a contract or something you have to sign does not benefit you, sign in cursive the word duress. And that way you're off the hook. Oh, one more thing in Canada. Whenever you're ordering utilities for your house, like gas and water and phone and internet, what else is there? I forget what else there might be. But if it's anything that's not insurance, all the utility bills in the household, don't use your real name. What are you thinking? You know, there's going to be a day where they hike the bills up so high that you're never going to be able to pay them. So you have to just walk away from those utility bills and switch companies and stick them with the bill. Don't use your real name. When they say, we need to see identification, you can say, I'm sorry, I don't have any. I've never had a driver's license. I really wish I could help you. That's it. They can't force it on you. And any house in Canada has to have water, gas, or at least access to it. They have to have that. So stop making it easy for people to take your money from you. Stop cooperating with the system. Okay. I am in Costa Rica. The cost of living here is inexpensive if you have your house paid off. Houses in this particular area, 350,000 US is the cheapest one I have as a listing here. Many of them are about 525 to 575 in that range. If you like the really big mansions up on the mountains, I've got a few of them for sale for $3 million US. I've got a $7 million house for sale in Capos right now, but it just depends on what you want. Also, I would never recommend you just buy a house unless you talk to me and we get into what your lifestyle is. You know, are you a party animal? If so, move to Hako. Yeah, are you someone who wants quiet? If so, then go to Dominical or into Uvita. If you really like to party all the time, San Jose. Hey, there's different parts of the country that have different things to offer. This guy definitely knows who Lisa Ann is. Are you talking Lisa Ann out in Ontario? If so, then yes, I do know exactly who that is. Okay. How's employment for Canadians? In Canada, abysmal. In Costa Rica, you don't come here to get jobs. You come here to start a business. That's what you do. The locals get paid anywhere between $3 and $7 US an hour. Welders might get 10 to 15 if they're really, really, really good. So you can come here and establish yourself in a business, pay the locals low, train them, and do quite well for yourself. Okay, I'm just having a quick look here. Yeah, Randy, a non-confidence, it's not a non-confidence vote that's going through this week. It is a non-confidence petition. Hopefully, something can be done. But remember, Trudeau is still in charge of the government, so he can look at that petition and go, nah, and walk away. And therein lies the problem. We have no way to get him out unless we form an armed rebellion. And Canadians will never do that. So he knows he's safe, unfortunately. That's why he's such a cocky bastard, by the way, is because he knows that Canadians will never attack him. He knows that. He got pebbles thrown at him, I think, a little while ago, but that's about it. No one's throwing pitchforks, or no one's firing arrows at him. No one's shooting at him. No one's driving their cars at him. He knows that Canadians won't do any of that. That's why he behaves like the worst punk on the planet. Okay. Lisa says she would not buy anything from me. Not even hair dye? Come on, be nice. Anthony's out in San Jose, California. Oh, how is San Jose these days? I heard that San Jose is getting pretty rough, just like San Francisco. How many square feet for a 350K house? Here in Uvita, about 1,100. Somewhere in that range. Hi, Kevin. What about sea level rise or tsunamis? The whole bridge from South America. Okay. First off, there is no such thing as sea level rise. There are tsunamis. There are tidal waves in the world. But there is no such thing as ocean levels rising. It's not happening. There is more ice in the Arctic Circle this year than there has been in the last 30 years. We're fine. The Arctic passageway is not open like everyone says it is. That's propaganda. Tsunamis that come into Latin America, there hasn't been one for decades now. But the last one that came in apparently was like a foot high. It wasn't much. Costa Rica has lowlands and highlands. And if you're up on the mountain, you're fine. If you live, sorry folks, if you live right beside the beach, I really am sorry about the yawning. If you live right beside the beach, then the tsunami coming in will probably make your house wet. And then within a couple of days, with the sun being where it is, it'll all dry up. I wouldn't worry about that at all. What's the security situation in Costa Rica? East Coast is where the higher crime towns are. The West Coast is where the patriots, the expatriates are, where the rich people are. So the police are a bit more adamant about protecting the West than the East. The East Coast, don't go alone. Go with friends. The West Coast, young girls like 15, 16 years old hitchhike here on the West Coast. It's safe here. Only Costa Rican people can work, no expats. Yeah, expats can own a business. That is correct. Don't you have to be a citizen to open a business there? No. No, you do not. You can start fast-tracking yourself to residency by opening up a corporation or by buying a house. Ah, we got somebody there in Tamarindo. I haven't been there yet, but I will be doing that in 2 weeks. There you go. If non-confidence is received in the governor's office, there is authority to remove him. Well, that remains to be seen. I hope you're right. I have found nothing in any of the Articles of Incorporation of Canada that says that is true, but I hope it is. Yeah, Uvita is beautiful, and Tamarindo, since I haven't been, I have no point of reference, but I will get there. I will get there. Lisa says I need to educate myself. How many people in the room right now believe I need to educate myself? Anyone? I mean, I need to educate myself on speaking Spanish and Russian. I don't speak either one. But what exactly is it that you think I got wrong in this presentation? Go ahead and tell us. Mudslides. Yes, Andrew, those can happen because a lot of the mountains here are a combination of volcanic, like ancient volcanic rock and a lot of clay. So trees are left to grow wild here. They hold, oh man, it's been a long day. They hold the mountains together. But yeah, they can happen. Mudslides can happen. Bindi says 54,000 what exactly? Yeah, I heard that Limon is not a very good town to go to. What towns and cities on the west coast, where is it safe? In the northwest, there is an airport called in the town of Liberia, just west of it. That's where the small town of Cocoa Beach is. And as you work your way down the the west coast there, you've got Nosara, which is the most expensive in the country. And then there's other towns all the way down the coast. Hako is party central, everybody. So that's where you can go to the nightclubs and dance. You can get hookers if you want. You can get chicken wings, all kinds of food, all kinds of partying. The beach is nice, and so on. It's a little bit cheaper to live in Hako than it is to live here in Uvita because it's a bit more touristy and very loud. Quepos is very touristy but less loud. And Uvita is quiet because people who want to settle have settled here and they travel everywhere else. Correct, Fab 4? Okay. The oceans are getting warmer and rising. Oh, for God's sake. What evidence do you have, Lisa, that the oceans are warmer? And what evidence do you have that the oceans have risen? Anything at all? Like, which study are you quoting? Which university study is it? Which government study is it? Have you compared multiples? Have you compared left-wing country studies to right-wing country studies? Have you done any of that? If the ocean was rising, why is the ocean at the exact same level today at Plymouth Rock as it was 100 years ago? Why? It's not rising. Have a look at the Statue of Liberty. Right? That island supposedly was supposed to be underwater by now. If you look at photographs of the Statue of Liberty from 1960 and today, the water level is exactly the same. Sydney Harbor, same thing. Right? The water levels are exactly the same. Is the Guanacaste area safe? I haven't been to Guanacaste yet. I'm buying a car soon. That's something I will be doing. And then I'm going to tour every single town and film every single town. We'll know that soon. How in the hell is anyone's kid ever going to buy a house in Toronto or Canada at $1 million? They're not, Johnny. They're not. Houses are going to become multi-generational. So if you have a house in Toronto and your kids are wanting to buy one, they're not going to be able to. They'll be living with you forever. That's just how it is, unless you go to a cheaper country. So kids are not going to be able to afford any of that. Hey guys, girls, ladies and gentlemen, we are almost at 30,000 likes. We're at 28,200. Could all of you please just go rapid fire? Let's just get thousands of likes done right now. Let's really get the hearts flying if we could. Just tap your screen anywhere at all, like right over top of my face here, and the likes will just come pouring in. God bless you all for that. What scams should we be aware of when down there in Costa Rica? Very good question. Biggest scam, number one, I covered it earlier on my other show tonight, and that is don't buy property sight unseen from someone that you don't know or from someone who's selling it within the same country that you are in. Don't do that. I'll tell you why. Because in some cases, you'll hear a friend of yours saying, yeah, I got this great house, only $140,000, blah, 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 right? And you buy it. And then you get down there and you find out that it's a shack. That can happen. You want to be able to talk to the guys who will actually physically drive to the house and turn the camera on and go live on Skype or live on Signal or WhatsApp or whatever you're using and actually show it to you That's what you want. That's me, and that's my partner, Mark. We will drive to those houses. That's a very common scam. Another one, and this is what people tend to forget to tell you, is that if you buy a house here and you leave it open, sometimes squatters will catch on to the fact that the house doesn't have anybody living in it. And then they'll move in and they'll put up little tents and whatnot on your lawn and then try to live there permanently. And the way that you solve that problem is you hire me to be your concierge. So I show up, I go inside your house, I flick the lights on, I bring my laptop, I'll work there for a couple of hours. I make sure that the locals come by, they clean your windows, they cut your grass, make everything look really good. There's little devices you can buy here that have red, green, blue lights on them, and they shine. And what you do is at night, they come on. As soon as it gets dark, these things come on, and they just bounce off of a wall. The lights bounce off a wall, and it looks like someone's home watching TV. These are things that I do. I'll set you up as your concierge to make sure that your house always looks like someone is living in it. That's another common scam here. Wherever you go in the world, it's not just Costa Rica. This is very much like in European countries, especially, is you'll get currency exchangers on the streets. If anybody wants to exchange currency with you anywhere, and you're not actually physically going to a bank to exchange currency, they will probably sell you currency to another country, probably an African country, or something to that effect. So never exchange currency with anybody who's not working for a currency exchange business or a bank. Don't do that. Also, here's another one. If someone is excessively friendly, like, oh, hi, it's so good to meet you. You want to get around? I'll pick you up at 7:30 and so on. Just decline. Just say, no, thank you, but no. Excessively friendly people who are not expatriates like yourself could be robbers. They may not be, but they could be. And I'm just trying to think in my mind, what advantage is it to them to drive somebody somewhere if they weren't going to try to muscle some money out of you in some way? So watch out for that. All right, but that's not just Costa Rica. That's every country in Latin America and South America too. Who will win in provincial elections in Canada and Ontario? Well, since Bonnie Crombie, the psychotic ex-mayor now of the city of Mississauga, my hometown, since that psychopath is now running for premiership of the province, you better make sure she doesn't win, because if she wins, Sharia law will be implemented in Toronto immediately and the rest of Ontario right afterwards. She's a member of the Muslim Brotherhood. You don't want that kind of trouble and headache. You don't. So make sure she does not win. Oh, I see. Bindi says 55,000 likes are showing. Really? It's showing 32,600 for me. Huh. It'd be nice if it was 55,000. Guys, we're almost at 35,000. Let's just hit it. Let's hit it. All right. So what do we got here? It's 11. I've been at this for how long now? I started at 8 o'clock. Wow. So I'm at 3 hours and 10 minutes already. Okay. So we should be at 40,000, shouldn't we, if I've been 3 hours and 10 minutes talking here. Let's just keep rocking those likes. All right, let's keep doing it. I love you guys. Thank you. I'm just looking at your questions here, everybody. Where do you get furnishings for the houses? Here in Uvita, there are 3 furniture stores that I have found. And the best part is they will deliver at no additional cost. Yeah, you give them the Google pin as to what house you have, because the houses don't have addresses. If your address is, I am the 9th house left of the Iguana restaurant. No shit. That's addresses here. So just give them the Google pin, and they'll drop everything off to you, no additional cost. Actually, one of the grocery stores here delivers groceries, and the guys show up on motorcycles with your groceries in a cooler container on the back of the bike. It's pretty wild. Fab4, you're an expat? Well, hey, so am I. Thanks for being here. Definitely appreciate that. Do you need to speak Spanish in Costa Rica? Well, I don't speak Spanish. I'm getting there. So long as it's hola or buenos dias, buenas noches, and you're smiling all the time, buenos dias. everything's fine. They will attempt to speak English to you if you're friendly. Certain towns won't, like San Isidro is about an hour from where I am. It's the second biggest city in the country. No one speaks English there. And they don't want to. They don't care. So have your Google Translate ready to go. All right, there you are. On the West Coast, everyone speaks English. Am I ever coming back to Canada? Well, since I'm running for mayor of Mississauga again, I'm doing it from Costa Rica so I don't get shot this time. Because I got hit with every weapon imaginable when I ran for mayor of Calgary, this shirt here. If I win, of course I will. I'll be back there running the city of Mississauga. Damn right. Got to make sure I win that election. Debbie says it's 10:10 in Alberta. It is 11:12 p.m. here in Costa Rica. I'm 1 hour ahead. So you live, what part of Alberta do you live in there, Debbie? Or if you wanted to, you could just message me privately on TikTok. I'm in my inbox right now. Okay. What's the best way to send gift packages with no postal codes? To where? From where to where? I need more information. Well, Iguana Restaurant, I don't know, there's all kinds of names down here. There's Gastro Special, that's the name of one of the restaurants down here. The names are a bit wonky. There you go. Hire you for Tamarindo. Hire you, okay, you want to do what? Actually, Fab4, why don't you message me privately? Because it sounds like you and I have got some things in common here. And I wouldn't mind actually picking your brain about the northwest of the country. And TikTok Boss gives me some glasses, brother. Thank you for the glasses. I do appreciate that. Is food expensive here? Yes, if you go to the wrong places. No, if you go to the correct places. It's a matter of knowing where to shop. That's what that's all about. You got to know where to go. If you're here on the West Coast, I'll tell you where to go. Does it look like suburban Canada infrastructure down there? No, not at all. Not one bit. You will not recognize the infrastructure here at all. Nothing here looks like Canada. Nothing. Nothing. With the exception of the gym that I went to for 3 days in San Jose. Looked just like something you'd find in Toronto. The hotel that I went to, called a Loft in San Jose, looked just like any 3 to 4 star hotel in Toronto. Maybe the McDonald's across the road, but that's about it. Everything here is very, very different. So it's a brand new adventure to be here in Costa Rica because everything is different. There you go. Oh yeah, Florida weather. Depends where you are. It's hot here in Costa Rica, in Uvita all the time. But San Jose is more like Florida weather in November, where you've got 75 during the day and 65 at night. That's really good. San Jose weather is beautiful. I need your information. I got to stop paying taxes. Go to my personal website, KevinJJohnston.me, and use the contact form and tell me what you want in the subject matter. I need your contact info, and I can guide you to the right people to help you. Rural Alberta is the Wild West. Almost no police available out there. Believe me, that's what you want. And you know, I guess the next big thing is that, I shouldn't say this, but I'm going to say it anyway. In rural Alberta, you can drive for 20 minutes straight and not see a soul. I love Alberta for that reason. Like, Alberta is just so beautiful. And I will miss it. I miss it. I mean, it is a beautiful place. So we had this incident about 5 years ago. Maybe 4 years ago, whatever. This kid named Colton Bushi gets on Twitter and brags about the fact that he's going to be dead soon. So obviously he was a bit suicidal or he had something wrong with him. Steals an SUV, somehow manages to rip a couple of the tires off of the SUV and drives it on its steel rims. Drives onto a farmer's land, points a gun at the farmer, threatens to kill the farmer's wife, and the white farmer shoots this native guy because he was threatening his family. And somehow, the farmer is the bad guy. Well, this all took place in the middle of nowhere. So the farmer calls the police, and all of a sudden this national, international story goes out. All these native dudes come out saying, well, white people, they kill us. We need to have more money. And that's really what it boiled down to. This kid was a loser. All right? Something went wrong in his life. It sent him down this loser pathway. And he pointed guns at someone. If I have a gun and you point one at me, I'm going to shoot you. It's that simple. In Alberta, the best part about it is you don't have to call the police. Just like here in Costa Rica. Dig a hole. Make sure it's about 6 to 8 feet deep. Throw it all away. Keep your mouth shut. There you go. I wouldn't say a word, honestly. I mean, here in Costa Rica, we have castle law. So if someone breaks into the house, I can put every knife I have through you, let you bleed out, and call the police and say, hey, there's a break-in, and they'll see the broken window and the knives. They'll pick up the corpse and take it away. But do I even want to bother with that? Just dig a hole. You can dig the soil real nice here. Or better yet, you could take the body about 2 kilometers into the jungle, and I promise you the wild cats and the ants and the lizards and everything else, they'll eat it. It'll be gone. The bones will eventually be sun-bleached. No one's going to care. And that's what you have. That's what you call real freedom. So in Alberta, you don't need the police. If you have your own weapons and you shoot to protect, not to be a murderer, but shoot to protect, and the guy ends up dying, bury him. Forget the RCMP. They'll just charge you. They're scumbags, those guys. Debbie, you're in Red Deer. Well, welcome to the show. Thanks for being here. What about homes? How do they look? Very modern style for most of them. Go to my website, KevinJJohnston.me. Mouse over the real estate link, and you'll see Costa Rica real estate. Click on that, and you'll see all my listings are there. And there's all photographs. I even made videos for about 12 or 13 of them, so you get a real good sense of what they look like. Very, very modern designs. Oh, Bindi, sending packages to Costa Rica from Canada. You have to send them through DHL. So there's actually 2 DHL offices here in Uvita. And if anybody wants to send me gifts or whatever you want to send down, it's no problem. I can pick it up at DHL. There's an address in Miami you have to send it to, and then Miami will ship it here. That's how you do it. Isn't San Jose on the East Coast? San Jose is very central. San Jose is in the middle of the country, and it's right in a pocket of numerous mountains. It's a beautiful, beautiful town. What are the lowest temps there during the winter months and highs in the summer? It's consistent all year long. The Costa Ricans actually call this summer right now because this is not the rainy season. It's hot. It's hot here every day. So when you go jogging, actually one thing I'd like to do is the mountain that I live on, there's a hill. It's about 1.5 kilometers long. It's on a 43-degree angle. And when you walk up that, the shirt is just soaked. So I don't even wear a shirt walking up that mountain anymore. I take the dog for a walk, and then back down, and then back up. I'll do it 3 times. You know, it's an amazing glute workout. So for all the single ladies out there, my ass is now rock hard with all the mountain climbing that I do here. Yeah, and I just wanted to point out that Canada is a beautiful country from the standpoint of the land. The land mass is gorgeous, all right? The province of Ontario's got some beautiful stuff. Alberta is just stunningly beautiful. When you go to the west coast, the ocean and the mountains being in the same view, you turn your head this way, you're looking at the Pacific Ocean, turn around, you're looking at mountains. It's gorgeous. I love the landscape, but the politics and the police and the administrators, they've ruined it. There's no point being there. So you can admire the beauty, but you can't afford gasoline for your car. Can't afford food there either. The people, there's more homeless people in Canada than ever before. It's out of control because everything's being taken from everybody. It's really sad. So Fab Four, you're from the USA? Oh, the police, where? The police, the policia here? Yes, they take bribes. You want to get rid of a cop, just give him $20 and send him on his way. I would much rather do that. Say, amigo, here. Yeah, just give him $20 and tell him to fungu. There's nothing worse than talking to cops in Canada. Now, they are so obnoxious. They've been trained to be pricks. They're trained to try to piss you off and get a reaction. I don't want to talk to them. There's nothing a cop in Canada has to say that I want to hear. Nothing that I want to hear. I don't want to talk with them. So if you get pulled over by a cop, they make that big production. License and registration. Do you know why I pulled you over? And they often get upset with me because I keep saying, guys, I don't answer questions. I don't answer questions. I don't answer questions. I don't answer questions. I do not answer questions. I ask questions. But they go back to their car and they call everything in like a bunch of assholes, and they sit on the side of the road. You know, they're a traffic hazard. And they sit there for as long as they possibly can. For what reason? For what reason? Why is this going on? I despise it. No, the policia here in Costa Rica, give them $20 and send them on their way. I like that much better. I don't want to talk to cops. Just here, bye. Have I been to Lake Arenal? No. I've got some friends of mine coming down from Montreal who are going to be joining me, and we're going to go to Lake Arenal and climb Mount Arenal, which is the volcano where you can see the Atlantic and Pacific Ocean just by turning your head 2 different directions. All right. What are gas prices in Costa Rica? Oh, I should know that because we just put gas in. It wasn't bad. It was like $1.25 a liter. It wasn't bad. It really wasn't bad. How would you fix Canada if you became Prime Minister? Enact the War Measures Act immediately, round up the entire Liberal, NDP, and Green parties, refuse to give them trials, lock them up for the longest period of time that I would be allowed to, bring in firing squads from the military, execute every single one of them, and then cancel any and all contracts around the world that don't make any sense for the country. Period. Immediately implement the end of the radical leftist agenda. Immediately begin mass deportations of every single illegal individual, and increase the standards for immigration into the country. Minimum intelligence quotient 105. Minimum. Otherwise, we don't want you. Go back to where you came from. There's a lot of things I would do. I'd be a complete bastard if I was in there. But the right kind of bastard. The one who actually cares about the country. Yes, Johnny Boy, make a very good point. Everyone needs to protest in every province about the high cost of living and their freedom. Canadian idiots are protesting against Israel. They're flying the flags of Hamas, saying, yeah, free Palestine. Why? Why are you... That's Palestine's not even a country. It's a region. It was named by the Romans 3,000 years ago to piss the Jews off. That's all that it was. And now it's a very obnoxious place full of obnoxious people. And they pissed off Israel one too many times. They pissed off the Egyptians and the Saudis and the Lebanese. They pissed everybody off. Nobody wants them around. Nobody. But you're all flying flags and free Palestine. But none of you are putting blockades in front of grocery stores protesting $10 bags of Doritos and $9 milk and $9 butter. You know, and $38 pizzas and chicken breasts this big that are $14. You're not protesting that. You're protesting on behalf of people who hate you from a place that's not even a country. What the hell is the matter with you in Canada? And I cannot believe how stupid people can be. So yeah, you should all be protesting Trudeau every day, your premiers every day, grocery store prices every day, fuel prices every single day. You should be protesting this every single day. But you're not. You're saying, yeah, from the river to the sea. You sicken me sometimes, people. You really do. How will I fix Mississauga if I become mayor? Number one, We're going to help Mississaugas who lost their businesses and their homes and loved ones sue Bonnie Crombie and everybody on City Council who made that decision. We will help them sue everybody and divulge all their personal information to them, like the bylaw officers that were enforcing illegal bylaws, which are not even laws. We'll start with that. And then we're going to state that we will not be tolerating any more of this mass immigration into the city. The city can't afford it. We're going to stop bylaw officers from pestering anybody who's running a business. The only people that we're going to let go into them will be the health inspectors, because that's not the city, that's provincial. Let them do their job, but we want to make sure that we have commerce coming into the city. And then every single day, with my big mouth, I will be telling Canadians exactly the truth that I'm telling you here. That's all that it takes, is one leader of one town to be spewing the truth like this every single day, and everyone's going to start to listen. I can sway millions of minds if I'm in that position. Millions. Have I had any dealings with the police in Costa Rica? They'll do checkpoints once in a while. What they're doing usually is they're looking for drug trafficking. So what happens is you'll see the cops on both sides of the highway, and then the highway is just one lane each way. And there'll be 5 or 6 squad cars. There'll be at least 10 cops. They've all got machine guns. And one will, signal you over. You roll your window down, smile. Yeah, hola, amigo. And he'll just say, open trunk. That's fine. So you open the trunk. They're not looking for contraband from you. They just want to make sure that you're not smuggling people and big things of drugs. So just open it up. He looks in. No, okay. Buenas noches. And you drive away. That's it. Yeah? There's no reason to get your back up with them. Because if you see the cops and they're on the West Coast on the highway, they're looking for somebody specifically. It's not you. It's definitely not going to be gringos. The other thing is, I'm very polite with the security guards. All the grocery stores have security guards here. All of them. And they take it a bit more seriously because they have body armor and guns. So I walk in, hola amigo. And what I do is I always have a backpack with me. They don't like you wearing that, but I just say amigo. I open it up, Lee looks inside, and then just before I buy my groceries, I say amigo. And I open it back up and I show it to them, and gracias, gracias. And now it's to the point where they know my name and they don't check my bag anymore. Just have manners. Be polite. And everything is going to work well for you here. How long have I been living in Costa Rica? This is week number 12. $1.25 Canadian, actually, is what we paid for gas. In Dominican Republic, the cops only get 2 gallons of gas, so they won't chase you? Really? That's weird. Is Premier Rob Ford related to Henry Ford? No, he's not. Would you keep immigration open from India? Well, remember this. The only thing that I could stop is the mayor of Mississauga. I can't stop immigration, but I can stop the illegals from coming in. If you're coming in from India and you're legally coming into the country, and you're bringing, let's say, investment dollars and intelligence with you, well, that's the kind of person I want in the city. I don't want illegal aliens with IQs of like 63 and machetes walking around my town, killing people. I don't want that shit, period. No, it's a matter of if you're willing to abide by the laws of the land, like my father did when he moved to Canada, like I did when I came here to Costa Rica. Right? If you want to follow the law and integrate, why would I want to stop that? You're a respectable human being. That's what I want to be around. You're right, Jack. Grocery stores in Canada are making record profits. Do you know why? Because Canadians are not doing anything about it. You're shopping. Just before I left Calgary to come here to Costa Rica, I was walking around this store. It's called Co-op. It's a grocery store. Nothing special about it. But as I'm walking around, the place is packed. It's absolutely packed. And the food prices were triple what they were when I moved to Calgary. I moved to Calgary in 2021. I left in November of last year. So in 2.5 years, not even 3, the food prices in that store tripled on very many things. I remember butter was $3 when I moved to Calgary. It was $9 when I moved out. Milk is $9 when I moved out. Insane. 2 words, insane. But Canadians would rather protest about the Israel-Palestine conflict that they know nothing about than protest the money being stolen from them by grocery stores. Okay. Oh, Fab 4. You're American? I want to be an American eventually. Not yet, but eventually. So, here, let me propose. I don't have a ring. Here, I've got an earbud. Will you marry me? Because that's the fastest way to become a U.S. citizen. There you are. How can you run for mayor when you don't live in the country anymore? Well, go to MississaugaVotes.ca and read the qualifications that are required, and you will find that I qualify. Okay? That's their rules, not mine. I qualify. Count Chris Sky's votes. Yeah, Chris Sky, he got hosed on that, man. He really did. Well, everyone's got opinions on Palestine and Israel. I think both parties are idiots, assholes. I'm sick of both parties. I really am sick of the whole thing. All right, we're talking about two particular regions that have absolutely opposite ideologies that will never get along, who are pretending to get along. It ain't working at all. It was going to come to a head at some point, and here it is. And that's human nature, by the way. And as for Benjamin Netanyahu, I think he's an asshole as well. I can't stand the guy. And Israelis in general can't stand the guy either. But it still has nothing to do with me. I didn't do it. I didn't cause that fight. I would be the first one to say, hey, both of you, relax, chill out, have a beer. But they won't. I cannot change human behavior. I cannot influence that war in any way. And what I do not appreciate is the piggish behavior of Palestinian protesters all over the world. Right? In Japan, these Palestinian protesters were defecating in the streets. So it's to the point now where the Japanese call Palestinian protesters street shitters, and the Japanese are protesting to have them removed from the country. That's going on everywhere. So you want my support? Behave yourself in a civilized fashion. You want to shut cities down and then start pissing all over the place and breaking windows and damaging people's cars, and then throwing smoke bombs into moving traffic. You've lost me. I don't give a shit what happens to you at that point. How many kids do I have? 2 that I know about. I want 10 more. I really do. The truth is all it takes. You are naive and have no tact. I'm not sure if that's directed at me or not. What? Are you in Costa Rica and lecture Canadians? Jerry, I don't lecture. I tell the truth. I tell the truth as I know it to be at that exact moment. That's what I do. But I am a Canadian citizen, and I have watched Canadians sit on their fat asses doing nothing while their country was stolen from them, just ripped apart. I watched them bitch and moan and complain about things, but do nothing. I've seen so many hundreds of thousands of Canadians say stuff like, well, it's about time someone else did something about that problem. So, yeah, I will lecture Canadians. Stop being so friggin' lazy. Get off your ass and do something. Jerry, that pisses me off what you said only because, if you know my history, you'll know that I served 7 months in maximum security prisons in Canada just for telling Canadians the truth about taxes not being something they had to pay. Just for telling the truth about the fact that bylaws do not pertain to Canadian citizens. Just for telling the truth that there was no pandemic and masks don't work. Just for helping Canadians get by. What have you done for your country? Right? For 7 years, I've been doing this. What have you done? What's that? Nothing? That's what I thought. Yeah, Walmart was checking our bags. After complaints, they stopped. Yes, but different culture. Costa Rica is not Canada. Costa Rica is not the United States. So if they say open the bag and you say no, they will kick you out of the store. And it's their country. So if I don't try to integrate into their country, I will get kicked out of the country. Because the Costa Ricans don't put up with people's bullshit. They don't. So integrate. And I am a guest in their country. It is not my country of birth. I was not raised here. And I will respect it. while I'm here. Nothing wrong with respect. But just get it out of your head that because you're an American or a Canadian, that the same rules there apply here. They don't. Fun Time says you lived in North Boston, becoming in Costa Rica for 16 years. I have not been to Boston since 96 or 97. Is the Bell in Hand pub still open? That was a really cool place. Why can't you change laws to change laws? When you're in charge, you can. How and why did you pick Uvita? I've got a lot of really good contacts here, and I see more potential to make money in Uvita than any other city in the country right now. That's why I picked Uvita. It's very, very up and coming. Uvita is today what Nassara was 10 years ago, and Nassara is expensive now. I see a way to make literally more than 1 million US per year here. It's the only place right now that I feel that I could actually do that really in North America currently. So I picked Uvita based on that. Okay. Yeah, insane is one word. So when I say two words, insane, that is a euphemism for emphasizing how crazy I feel that it is. There you go. Instead of saying, that's very, 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 very crazy, I have the euphemism instead. Gibalfi says that he has a grocery store and he loses money on milk. In Canada, especially the province of Ontario, farmers have to dump about half the milk that they produce. Milking technology is so good in Canada that we produce too much milk. They got to dump it down the drain. It gets poured into the sewer. And the Milk Association of Ontario dictates the retail price of milk to small business owners, and if you don't do what you're told, they come in and shut down your store. Canada is run by Nazis. Every single division is just Nazis. And Fab 4, are you saying sure to my marriage proposal? Is that what you're saying? All right. Inflation was inevitable once the lockdowns went down. Of course it was. Absolutely. There was nothing else that could happen. When you shut down a third of the businesses permanently in your country, that's the only thing that can happen. That could be the only possible end result. All right, so not really. Marriage is not easy with an American woman, bro. Well, I can tell you this right now. With the exception of New York and California, dating and marrying an American woman in any other state, except for those two, would be easier than dating any woman from inside the province of Ontario. I don't know if you've ever tried to date women in Toronto, but it's more fun to just sit in a corner by yourself and stare at the wall for 4 straight days than it is to go on a date with a chick in Toronto. So let's be a little bit more honest about that. Toronto is a very cold, callous, unfriendly, uncaring, unkind, unloving city. It is desolate from a standpoint of its soul. There's a lot of people in Toronto, but having a lot of people around doesn't make it good. The city really is cold and dark and gloomy from a spiritual standpoint. Brutal place. The women in Alberta are far better. Oh, and by the way, guys, there's more single women in Alberta over the age of 40 than anywhere else in the world. That's a fact. So if you want to date, go there. There's lots of horny, good-looking women in Alberta. How do you feel about trans people? Well, I have addressed this already tonight. I have addressed this on every single show I've done, but I will address it again because this does come up. I am indifferent to anybody's sexual fetishes, anybody's sexual preferences, anybody's sexual anything. I just don't want to know about it. I don't need you to call me up saying, hey, guess what, I'm trans. Hey, guess what, I'm bi. Hey, guess what, I'm unilateral. I'm whatever unicorn. I don't need to know this stuff. None of it has anything to do with me. I, as a heterosexual male, do not need a flag of any kind flying anywhere in the world to make me feel better about who and what I am. I happen to love being me. I happen to love being a white middle-aged male. I'm having a good time being a white middle-aged heterosexual male. I don't want a flag. I don't need one. I don't need to associate with any particular ideology based on that, and I certainly don't need to affix my face or anything else, or my belief structure, or my soul to a symbol of any kind. Whereas in the trans community, there are two types of trans people. There are the real ones, and then there's the fake assholes, right? The real ones are the ones who they dedicate their lives to their full transition. That's what they do. It's an actual dedication because they really do believe it's who they are. No problem. If you're respectable, if you're decent, we can be friends. And I'm friends with Ellie. Ellie is the trans woman who's out in Ontario, who is a podcaster, and I go on her show all the time. And she earned my respect as a decent human being. Used to be a man, got all the surgery done, everything. My God, I saw that type of surgery being done on YouTube. Holy crap. Woo! And as a result of Ellie being a respectable, decent, kind, caring, intelligent, well-spoken individual, Ellie and I became friends. And I call her she because that's respect. Ellie earned my respect. If you are a trans person who wants to go out of their way to be respectful, polite, kind, and earn people's respect, then I don't give a shit about your transism or your transitionism or anything else that you want to bring forward. But if you want to stick your flag in my face and tell me that I must respect you because you say so, or I must respect you because you're different than me, well, the answer is a resounding no. It's no. I will not participate in that. I will not be told how to live or how to think. Period. So, if you are trans, so let's say it this way. If you're a real trans person who's dedicated to the craft and decent, I don't care. If you're a fake trans, like that guy, that 50-year-old guy who puts on a skirt and changes in the change rooms at public pools with 13-year-old girls, that's not a trans anything. That's a pervert and a prick and a loser and someone who should be behind bars. That kind of individual I have zero respect for. You don't need, none of you should make anything about your sexuality public at all. We don't need to know. I don't want to know what you do with your wife or your dog or your cat I don't want to know your girlfriend's name. I don't want to know any of that stuff. It's none of my business. And the problem with the trans community, along with the LGBTQ community, is they don't seem to understand that they actually don't represent the real trans community and the real gay community. Do you know who does more than the LGBTQs? Me. I support everyone's right to choose and everyone's right to be who they are. Just keep it to yourself. I do. There's no pictures of me out there naked. There's no videos of me out there having sex. Right? I've not designed the flag for myself. Okay? So just, that's what I want you to understand. If you're capable of being a decent, loving, kind, caring human being, that's my only expectation of spending time with you. In any capacity. Friends, colleagues, co-workers, whatever it might be. Thank you, Steel Horse, for the rose. I appreciate that. If Russia takes over Ukraine and NATO gets broken up, we'll all be speaking Russian or Chinese. NATO is not going to break up because of Russia-Ukraine. NATO would break up because it's broke. That's why. Because the countries are broke. Because BlackRock is running out of money. Because JP Morgan Chase is running out of money. The Rothschilds are running out of money. That's why. I wouldn't worry about it. If you were, Steve, if I had to pick between El Salvador and Nicaragua to live, it would be El Salvador hands down. Kevin, I could point to an argument about that. About which part? Master Fuster says, yes, his comment was directed at me. I have no charm, and I come off as combative. Okay, you're entitled to that opinion. I am not someone who backs down, but I'm also not someone who uses my fists to talk. Period. When someone wants to be nice and kind and polite, that's exactly what they're going to get from me. If someone chooses to be combative, I will tolerate it until they become too belligerent for even the average person to ignore. At which point I will become not necessarily combative, but I will become blunt. And people don't like that. And since I'm sick of people beating around the bush, I won't do it. I live by my own beliefs and my own doctrine, my own words. I'm not going to beat around the bush. The only people that I lie to about, if they do something that sucks, but I tell them that they're great, is when they're toddlers. Every time a kid draws a really shitty picture of me and it looks nothing like me, I tell them, it looks just like me. God, you're the best. You're better than Picasso. High fives and that. It's okay to lie to kids about stuff like that. Keep everything happy. But as for adults, why is it that you feel that I need to protect your feelings or the feelings of any other adults out there? I don't know them. There's nothing for me to gain or lose by them being offended by my demeanor. I am well aware of who and what I am. I am absolutely aware of how I come off to certain types of people. And I am not going to apologize for any of that. And I will continue living life to the best of my ability, smiling the way that I do and enjoying life the way that I do. As for the charm thing, I'm not sure how much you can tell about someone's capacity to charm by watching them on a flat phone. But if you feel that you can judge me as someone without charm, you are entitled to do so. Absolutely entitled to do so. Debbie, you may not be wrong on that. You don't think it's necessarily being lazy, it's fear of truth and retribution. Yeah, boldness is something that people don't have anymore. And a lot of people think that boldness is somehow going to get them jail time or get them shot or killed or stabbed or whatever it might be. You'd be amazed at how little consequences there are for boldness. Just be bold. Get done what you got to do. Someone tells you to do something and you don't know them and they're not paying you to do it, simply decline. Don't do it. It's really that simple. What does an American diplomatic passport give you over a regular American passport? Well, if you have a diplomatic passport and you're in another country and you're not there for diplomatic reasons, then that diplomatic immunity that everyone talks about does not apply. But if you are there on a specific job, like you're there for a specific reason, maybe you're acting as liaison for a new project or a new initiative of some type, then it applies if you're there in official capacity. But I don't think that the average cop in any country that you visit with a diplomatic passport would know what you're there for. So you probably would get away with quite a bit flashing that passport. Glad to have you here in Costa Rica. I'm a Tico. Well, thank you. I appreciate hearing that. And by the way, some people tell me that the term Tico is offensive. I don't think it is, because all the locals here call themselves Ticos. They call them, everyone says Tico. It's actually pretty cool. Colleen, I love Costa Rica too. I'm having a great time here. Canadian milk is low quality because the feed is artificial and the climate sucks. You should taste the milk here. Holy crap, the milk here is great. And the liquid yogurt? Wow. Don't buy Yoplait products here. They suck. But if you buy yogurt from the local farmers, holy crap. It's delicious, man. I could drink a liter of that stuff at a time. I mean, wow. I'm a Canadian mountain man. I chose to stay and defend. Okay. I'm a big mouth podcaster, investigative journalist who has cost a lot of politicians a lot of money because I've exposed what they've done. I'm someone who does not live in the mountains. I don't have any guns, and I don't have any capacity to defend myself in Canada from the police and from the government in any particular way. The Canadian government is constantly looking for ways to lock me up, which they've done for 7 months of my life so far. So I can't fight in Canada. The second I even open my mouth, I get arrested and back to jail. For what? Because they don't want me talking. But, Steel Horse, you're hearing what I'm saying. And you're hearing what I'm saying because I'm in Costa Rica where I'm not being censored. Court orders are irrelevant here. Canada has zero jurisdiction over what I do in Costa Rica. And on top of all of that, Canada is not blocking Costa Rican IP addresses. So my audience is now over 5 million compared to what it was in Canada at 200,000. This is better for me, and it's better for you. It's better for everybody. It really is. So this is how I am fighting. This is what you call a tactical withdrawal. It's tactical. I withdrew, and it's working. Okay, so yes, you get a 5-carat yellow diamond. I would have to go to Sri Lanka for that. And I would have to go into the mines myself to find something like that. Because a 5-carat yellow diamond, actually I'm curious, what would that cost? Hold on there. 5-carat yellow diamond value. Let's see here. Okay, they're beautiful. I'm looking at a picture right now. What's the price? How many carats would that be? Is it 5 carats? 5 carats. It's not showing me a price. Oh, because I've got to sign up and use my credit card to get a price. Nope. Can someone find out what the price of a 5-carat diamond is, please? Because this girl from Boston says she'll marry me if I give her a 5-carat diamond ring. Not that I'm planning on buying one, just for the record. But I would go to Sri Lanka and go find one in a mine because that would be a really cool adventure. There you go. It's $75,000 for 3 carats. If it's a fancy, vivid yellow. 75 grand. So let's estimate about 110,000 for a ring. Well, I would prefer to buy you a car. Doesn't that make more sense? What the hell are you going to do with a diamond ring that expensive? You got to buy insurance for that. You can't eat it. And factor this in, sweetheart, you wouldn't be able to sell it for that price later. So if you ran into money problems in the future, you could hawk it, but you might get $1,000 for it. Let's buy his and her Porsches or something instead. Did you say single women over 40 are the most? What I said is there's more single women over 40 in Alberta than anywhere else in the world. The single ladies flock to it. And they don't mind dating. And they're nicer than Ontario and Vancouver women by a lot. By a lot. How is the city of Ottawa? Boring, gray, cold, full of idiots. Not very good. My age, 52. Hey, I'll give you everything. 52 years old, 5'6", right now 193 pounds. I can bench press 225. I can deadlift 500 pounds. Don't believe me? It's on this TikTok channel where I deadlifted 500 pounds. It's also on my Instagram page where I can leg press 825, I think it is. And I have no problem walking 8 miles straight in this crazy 85-degree temperature weather outside. I just keep going until I drop. So there we go. Oh, and I do things very well. You know what I'm talking about. Yeah, Toronto has wacky women, I swear. Yeah. It's a strange place. It stopped being cool after the economic crash of 1994. Everybody just went nutso. Johnny boy, you lied. I'm not 40, I'm 52. Come on, tell the truth. I don't mind being 52, guys. Yeah, I'm not a chick where I say, you can't ask me my age. No, man, I like being 52. I think it's fantastic. All right. So vice grips, where do these oil rig wives get so much money? Why would they get divorced? One of the things that goes on in the province of Alberta that kind of ruins marriages in Alberta is that it's a little bit too liberal in the sex game than it should be, I think. Polyamory is huge in Alberta. So if you're into polyamorous relationships, you'll find one there. Like that's just, you will find one there. Marriages, I think that they last, but they're different than where they are elsewhere. Let's just word it that way. So 5 carats will do. Your ring size is a small 5. Still rather buy a car. Oh yeah, Fab 4. I forgot to ask. Height, weight, age, measurements. Debbie says, I have friends and family who are LGBTQ who do not agree with what's going on. Okay, if they don't agree with what's going on, then they're not LGBTQ. They're just gay or lesbian and whatever. That's it. They're just people. If they're not agreeing with it, they're not in it. LGBTQ is a cult, but being gay is just being gay. Being a lesbian is just being a lesbian. Being LGBTQ is an ideology. You've put your mindset into an ideology that is painful, harmful, destructive. That is correct, Debbie. They just want to live their lives. Look, you guys know, I told you the stories thousands of times. When I was a disc jockey between 18 and 22, I got offered to start working in a gay club downtown Toronto called the Barn and Stable. It was this 5-level gay club. Everybody was humping everybody. It was all men, but it paid $1,000 a night, plus tips. I made phenomenal money doing it. I know what gay culture is more so than gay people do. I know all of it. I also lived in Harlem, West Philly, Pittsburgh, Biloxi, South Side Chicago. I know American black street culture better than most people do. These are things that I have done with my life. I know these cultures inside and out. And that's why I say if anybody should be speaking on behalf of conservative gay people, it should be me. Because the LGBTQs do not represent them. Fun times, yay. 5'5", age of my 60s, but you're not supposed to ask a woman's age. Well, I did, and I will, because there's no law that says I can't. At the same time, if you refuse to answer, I have to accept the fact that I didn't get the answer. That is all. But 5'5" is a great height. There you go. By the way, do you do lots of squats? Because I'm an ass man. There you go. Do you know my Uncle Lonnie? No. You're from Canada, sorry to hear that. Things are pretty bad. Yeah, things are terrible. Canada is a communist, fascist, Marxist shithole. It's horrible. There's no jobs. There's no economy. There's been almost 11 million non-English speaking Africans and Arabs brought into the country since 1994. The economy is cooked. The culture is dead. Right? The violence is through the roof, and the government is completely and totally run by the radical leftist LGBTQs. Everything is left-wing. Everything. Sex with animals is legal in Canada. That, just to give you an idea of what we're talking about here. You can go to jail in Canada for not using someone's preferred freaking pronouns. It's a bad place. Yeah, a certain older generation coddled their kids way too much. Okay, so I think Fab is challenging me to send pictures. I'm a public figure. There's 10 million photographs of me everywhere. But I can send you some, sure thing. Oh, you have a Boston accent? That's actually kind of hot. Yes, chicken and pork in this country are fantastic. And Bear says, do we have a fugitive from Canada in Costa Rica? That's supposed to be an insult. Whatever. Okay, just checking a few things. Too many spiders and insects. Well, I don't know. Like, if you go really deep in the jungle, sure, there's going to be insects absolutely everywhere. But to this day, the bugs that I've seen are caterpillars. Don't touch the caterpillars here in Costa Rica. They've got an oil on their body that can actually give you severe burns on your skin. So just flick them away with your feet or a piece of paper or a rock or something. Locusts, they're really ugly grasshoppers, about that long. Harmless. Sometimes what they'll do is they'll land on you, and if you shake them really hard like this, they will fly away, but their legs stay behind. It's weird. And then their legs will just fall off of you. They lose their back legs really quickly here. I don't get it. And they're really, really stupid. These locusts, like one of them landed on our barbecue, and its wings and antennae just went, just burned. It didn't move. They're just laughing. What is this? So the locust is completely harmless, but completely stupid. The cicadas are 100% harmless, but they make a lot of noise. So there's a lot of those around. There are venomous snakes in this country, but I haven't seen a single one yet. Not one. I'm a veteran on my pension, and per month I pay $840 in taxes? You have to file, man. I work with a couple of accountants now. We're going to start doing money shows in March and April. Stick around, all right, because we will have answers to that kind of thing in the future. Okay, so we got a lot of people making comments about diamond rings. I think the lady is joking. I don't think the lady from Boston here really wants a $100,000 rock on her finger. I don't think that anybody really wants that. I think the prospect of perhaps buying, I don't know, how about a 1972 Barracuda? You could probably get a beautiful one for $35,000 and get a lot more use out of it. I'm sure that this amazing gal here, if I was to say Barracuda or ring, she'd say Barracuda. What's my ethnicity? I don't know. Cracker? Honky ass bitch? I don't know, pick one. Was it ghost crickets or white ghost? Very European. Back as far as we can remember our lineage. White. Toronto, Vancouver, Seattle, Montreal are the cloudiest places on the continent. People are moody. Yeah, they certainly are. Oh, I like this. This amazing gal works for Delta. Marry me and fly for free. Damn. I've only been to 14 countries. That's not enough. Let's go see 100 countries together. Yeehaw. No, I am not 53, guys. 53 later this year, but not yet. 52 years of age. Just going through your questions here. All right, there's a lot of comments. I fell behind here a bit. 25 squats every morning while coffee is brewing. That's a fantastic thing. Absolutely. Cece says she loves my sense of humor. Thank you for that. I do appreciate it. Come to America. It's all going really well here. I lived in the United States from 1996 to the year 2000, and I had a blast. I did. Even when I lived in the rough areas like Harlem and Trenton, New Jersey. I didn't like Trenton, and I did not like Kansas City, but I loved Pittsburgh. Chicago at the time was amazing. Tampa Bay region, love it. Dallas was cool. And I had a good time. It's impossible to have a bad time in the United States. I don't think Americans realize what they have. There's hundreds of cities with populations of more than 350,000 people. So if you're bored where you live, go to the airport with a backpack and your phone and some cash and buy a ticket on JetBlue anywhere. Land and check out another city. You could probably, I don't know, I'd imagine, because JetBlue, I know that in some cases they're selling tickets for $75, $80. You could have a great time. Every weekend you could see a different city. The Americans don't seem to realize just how lucky they are to have the country that they do. America's always been about business. Let's make money. Let's keep rotation of goods going. And that's what I did love about the States. I made sure that my kids saw Washington, D.C. and as much of the Americas as I possibly could show them in the short time that we had to do so. And my son was floored. Like, just, Dad, this place is amazing. And Washington, D.C. before Biden was absolutely fantastic. America is an incredible place and can be again. I pray it doesn't fall, because if America falls, nothing as amazing as America will ever replace it. Not ever. Oh, I know you're joking about the ring, Fab. I know. Let's get a Barracuda instead. And my sign, I am a Libra, everybody. Okay. And Fun Times has been to 35 countries. Yeah, I do have some catching up to do. No, Fab, I am not married. I got divorced 4 years ago. I'm just good friends with my ex-wife. We talk, once in a while. Actually, we talk kind of frequently because we did have kids together. It's always a good thing to be friends with your ex. I don't understand why people can't get along. Fine, yeah. The marriage didn't work. Okay, so you're not compatible as husband and wife. Just be buddies or something. God, man, like, people are so friggin' petty. Absolutely petty. All right. I've been at this for 4 hours and 10 minutes now. So, tell you what I'll do. I will stick around for 20 minutes if we can do one thing. If we can get this to 50,000 likes in the next 2 minutes. All right? Because I am getting up at 4 in the morning, and it's already midnight here, 10 after 1. So if you guys want me to stick around for 20 more minutes, I'm going to go and use the lavatory and come back. So if you guys want to just... Yeah, it's 12:08 here. I'll go over there for as long as it takes to do what I got to do. Get me to 50,000 likes here, if you could, please. It really does help. And I'll stick around 20 more minutes. Let's do that. I'll be right back. All right, so how are we doing for those likes, everybody? How are we doing? Oh, man, I took off and nobody liked anything. It still says 39,800. Wow. Come on, let's get those likes going, everybody. Let's get them going. Let's get those likes going. Fire them up. Alrighty. Just going to check my email box here and see who's talking to me there. And here we go again. It happens every show. Do I even have to answer this question? No, I am not gay. I like women. There we go. And what else do we have? And, yeah, see, Wendy, thank you for sending me the screenshot of the show here. So, this is the weirdest thing. Some people see different numbers up here for the likes. She sent me a screenshot that says 55,800 likes. So could everyone tell me what they see in the chat? It says, right now it says 40,600. Let me know what you guys see there, because a lot of people seem to have different stuff on their screens. Yeah, 40,740. Yeah, you see, it's weird, eh? It's really weird. I don't know how Wendy... So thanks, Wendy, for sending me that image, by the way. I just don't know how you always see more than everyone else. Maybe you're predicting the future. One never knows. All right. I'll take a couple of more questions and I will get going because it is late. And this wall here leads to another bedroom where someone is sleeping currently. I didn't realize how late it was. Right. All right. Mostly home in Boston. Actually, I'll tell you this about Boston. If you guys ever want to see a baseball game in the coolest place on the planet, you got to go to Fenway Park. You have to go to Fenway Park. I love it. The place is old and ancient, and that's exactly why. That's exactly why I love the place. Okay, someone asked me a good question here. Do I stream every day at this time? I'm trying to find a way to make this a bit more consistent. I have a podcast on, I'm getting tired now, Tuesdays and Thursdays at 9 p.m. Eastern Time, but we don't do it on TikTok because there's no way for me to let you see the entire screen. The podcast, we always have special guests. Every single show we have guests. And I have a co-host on the show, but I'm unable to use StreamYard to broadcast here on TikTok. I would like to be able to actually do that. But because of it, because I can't broadcast here, we have done the show live a few times during the podcast, but people watching here, they just get pissed off because they can't see the action on the screen. So I've got to find a better way to get that to happen. But you can watch the podcast. Just type in freedomreport.ca. That'll take you to my Rumble channel. It's free to join, and you can chat in the chat room. The chat room is actually quite active. And I use Rumble because it's a very stable platform. Very much. All right. Steel Horse, thanks for being here. I do appreciate that, man. Thank you very, very much. Great. All right. Last question, and I'm done. I got to go after this. Last question, and I got to go. So, but make it a real one. Don't ask about genitalia. I'm not going to tell you the size. I get that stuff all the time, too. But actually, I want to say this. For the last 5 or 6 shows I've done here on TikTok, the trolls haven't really been here. I think the trolls are tired of me enjoying picking on them. Pura vida, my dear. Have a great night. Okay, but yeah, it's not 20 minutes, Dino, but we're not at 50,000 views yet either. I said 50,000 views, and I'd stay for 20 minutes, but I'm here another 5 already. Dating is a different entity now. I've had conversations go well until I said that I am vaxxed. Well, yeah, I get that. The whole vaxxed versus non-vaxxed argument is a very difficult one to get around these days. And that is going to be a make or break thing in dating. Yeah, so I get that. If you are vaxxed, there'll be people that don't want it. And if you say that you're not vaxxed, then you're going to come across weak-spirited, weak-minded, stupid men who think that you're wrong. And if you did not get vaxxed, good for you. That's amazing. For the guys who did, who ran out to get vaxxed, they're not men. They're not men. They're losers. Oh my God. Some 23-year-old girl on CBC said get a vaccine. So they race out and get a vaccine because they don't want to get sick. What's the matter with all of you people? Do you guys remember what I was doing during COVID? The fake COVID nonsense? What did I do? I had a big container of strawberries like this. And what did I do? I said, oops, and I dropped them all deliberately into a patch of motor oil on the ground in a parking lot. And I ate them. Did I get sick? Didn't happen. Not one bit did I get sick. I also dropped a couple of bananas in dirt and I ate the soil with the bananas. Did I get sick? Nada. Let your immune system do its thing. Really. Let your immune system work. I give my immune system practice. It needs practice. I don't want to live in a sterile environment. At the same time, I did those things to make a point. And if you also remember the funny one that I did when I had the COVID tests on me, remember what we did? Did you guys see the video? YouTube took it down and gave me a strike for misinformation. Facebook took it down and gave me 30-day suspension. And Twitter killed my account. But we did COVID tests on the following things: a can of Coke, a doorknob, my spit, my snot, my ass crack, the cat's ass crack, the dog's tongue, the dog's ass. What do you think? Out of all those things, which one do you think had COVID according to the test? The can of Coke was the only thing that had COVID out of all the stuff that we tested. And I said, there you go. Right? It's not a thing. And the can of Coke probably had something on it because it had been sitting around for a while. So it's not the Coke that was inside, it was just the outside of the can. That's all that I rubbed the test on. And of course that video got taken down and I got penalized and so on, and I was actually scolded greatly by a judge in the province of Alberta telling me that I should not be doing tests like that because it was encouraging people not to get vaccinated. Well, of course I'm going to encourage you not to get vaccinated. I'm going to encourage you not to wear masks. I'm going to tell you there is no pandemic. When disease X comes out, I'll tell you there's going to be no disease there either. Right? The only reason that there was a pandemic is because CBC said so. That's it. And we all have to start using our brains just a little bit more. Either way, I want to say thank you to each and every one of you for being here. If you want to watch my podcast, it is every Tuesday and Thursday. So we're going live tomorrow, 9 p.m. Eastern Time at freedomreport.ca. And we give away cash. That's right. You can actually win cash on my podcast on Tuesday and Thursday nights. On Monday nights, I believe that we are going to really give it a... Oh, thank you, Debbie, for the cats. Or the bears, I'm sorry. Thank you for that. I am going to do my very best to make this presentation that I'm doing now a consistent thing on Mondays and Wednesdays. We're going to really give it a shot. It's been extremely difficult just because my days like 14 to 16 hours building this new business up. But I enjoy talking with you all. I really do. So we're going to keep doing this as often as we possibly can. I'm probably going to go live at some point this weekend as well. So freedomreport.ca. I think right here, Forever Times has it. freedomreport.ca. freedomreport.ca. And that's every single Tuesday and Thursday, 9 p.m. Eastern Time. The Kevin J. Johnston Show is live. You can win cash on the show. We always have a good time. It's a 2-hour show from 9 until 11. And we do answer questions that are in the chat room. Debbie, a pleasure to meet you. Thank you for being here. I appreciate that. Dino, thanks for being here. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being here tonight. All of you. Have a great night.